Hello everybody, I'm up to the West Ham Way YouTube channel. It's Corey, it's Danny. Yes, it is the Premier League preview show. We're going to cover three key fixtures of the weekend other than West Ham, because you get everything West Ham anyway, so there's no point in covering old ground. Actually, do you know what, Dan? Should we cover that Man United game the other night, mate? Because I haven't spoken to you about
go on,
it
mate.
since.
Yeah.
Let's give it a little bit. Let's give it a little bit of a debrief. Your thoughts, mate? Because I've said my bit. I want to know what you felt about the performance and the result.
Passive first half. I think they caused us problems with Martial and Rashford. I didn't think they were too threatening, to be honest. I think they missed Cavani. He's a big outlet for them. I'm not a massive fan of Martial. I don't know, mate. It didn't really click for us first half. I thought our biggest outlet was Bowen, but I didn't even think he was great. And we needed to change it. I agreed with the subs at half-time. Fredericks and Johnson coming on made a difference. Johnson as well was superb, by the way.
Yeah.
But it's United, isn't it? We're not really gonna get a lot of the ball. We didn't. It was backs against the wall, but it was one of them where we thought we'd fancy it to go to pens maybe or nick it. It was a good goal. It was a good goal from them. It was well taken. I thought they were the better team on the night, mate, to be honest.
Yeah.
If we have Antonio, though, it changes the game. We missed him a lot more than I thought we would. And it didn't really click for Yarmolenko up top either, mate. It didn't really, it didn't look like he was even putting any effort in, to be honest.
Yeah, it's a tough one, isn't it?
I don't know if that's a bit harsh, but
I don't think it's hot. I mean, maybe a bit harsh. I think he does put effort in. I just think he just exposed what we already knew as him playing in the 9. And what was disappointing was in terms of those aerial duels, it was very easy for Maguire and Lindelof to go and win them. Couldn't keep the ball at times. And I don't mind West Ham playing with a low block, but you have to be effective when you can get that ball up Manchester United's end. And when you don't have a striker or even a number 9 that can keep that ball for long enough, it just hurt us. And I thought first half, obviously, we definitely had to change something. We were stuck behind the ball. We were actually quite lucky, to be fair. I think Martial got a chance in on goal and he caused Dawson a few issues, although Dawson had a good game, to be fair to him.
Did well,
Yeah, and also, Ben Johnson... go on.
Sorry, mate. We didn't give him enough to think about, and that's what you need to do to teams like that. You need to have a bit of pace. You need to maybe start Benrahma or Lanzini, maybe even put Bowen up top for a bit of pace. Because, like you said, Maguire, Lindelof, they had nothing to do. So that on the bench already.
It was too easy.
And
I think I didn't mind the idea of having Noble sitting deeper and Rice and Souček pushing when Man United had the box in their third. I didn't mind it, but I think we lacked the energy to do that effectively. That's why we put the wing backs in. Ben Johnson, for me, was fantastic. Every time I watch that guy play, I think other than that Bournemouth game, his composure on the ball, playing on his weaker side as well. And also what was good about it was he was very composed in getting forward. He wanted to get the ball forward. He wanted to push West Ham further up the pitch. And I guess from that sense, those changes at halftime were good choices from David Moyes. But I think we just lack that, like you said, that Antonio type player that's going to run in behind, cause Manchester United issues. And it was a little bit frustrating. I can see why people were frustrated in an attacking sense.
I think Johnson had a point to prove, mate, as well. He wants to earn his place in that team. Cresswell and Koufal have obviously done well, but maybe if against Sheffield United, we'll touch on it later, but if we go to a 5 at the back, Johnson will get a shout. But yeah, every time, we got the ball, he wanted to do something. His dribbling was exceptional at times. And same again with Fredericks. He was faultless as well. He put in some good crosses at the end. But Odebecker obviously not being the tallest, that's not his game, really. I felt bad for him, by the way.
Tough one, wasn't it? Tough one for him.
I don't agree with taking him off. I understand why he's done it, but you're killing the kid's confidence before he gets there. Yes, he can bounce back, and Rice got hauled off at half-time against Newcastle in his second game. I get that. But for me, it's good. It's a good sense of character for Odebecker to come out and say, I'll learn from it. It's a learning curve. We'll go again. But I didn't think he was doing that badly. He didn't really get any service, and he's playing against one of the best teams in the Premier League.
Mate, it's a horrible game to come into, isn't it? West Ham a fatigued West Ham side that you can't really go and press Man United, and a lot of teams don't. And when you do, even when we saw Declan Rice when he lost the ball and he had a good game again, despite playing free on the bounce, loses the ball, Man United go up the other end and they can score. So it's such a hard game plan for him. And I didn't expect Odebeku to come in and be this hold-up striker and influence things, but I was disappointed to take him off with 10 to go because we were chasing an equaliser. And possibly if you add Manu Lanzini in there, you've got a bit of creativity. Maybe Odebeku can latch onto something. I was a bit concerned, to be fair, mate. I don't know about you, taking him off. I know he's responded very well and we've seen that, but taking a guy off as a substitute is never a good look for me, especially a youth team player.
Yeah, exactly. It's make or break for the kid now. It'd be a massive learning curve for him. But like you say, I don't agree. It doesn't. You need to give youngsters confidence. We brought him on. That was a good sense of confidence. For Moyes to give him a chance, but he didn't really have any flair around him.
No.
We had, to be fair, he had Benrahma for a bit, but like you said, bring Lanzini on as well. Create an opportunity for him because it was just hopeless balls into the box that that's not his game to get on the end of, especially against Maguire and Lindelof. So, it was disappointing. I understood the decision, but it's make or break for him now, and hopefully, that shows his character to come back, bounce back stronger, and make a statement in the future.
Just the worrying thing, I guess, is this fatigue point of view, isn't it? That we've seen, particularly in recent games. I thought Tommy Souček was dead on his feet. I think he did as well as he could have done, but he just wasn't there. I think Soufal as well looked fatigued. There are a lot of players that have put in some serious shifts, and I'm hoping we're going to see a little bit of return to form against Sheffield United, on Monday, because we'll have a prolonged period of rest now, and we need it. Our squad is paper thin, and obviously we'll touch on it. Yarmolenko now, I believe, is possibly out for the season. Ogbonna out for a month. These are big injuries, and I know Yarma isn't the ideal number 9, but again, mate, it's another player that you play in that role, and possibly we might even have to look at Lingard playing there now.
Yeah, it's typical that it happens a few weeks after the January window as well, isn't it? Because
I know. It's so West Ham.
Season. Yeah. But I was looking earlier, only West Brom have one injury. The rest of all the teams in the Premier League, they have 2 or more injuries, minor or anything. So goes to show, there's a lot of injuries at the moment due to the pitches and stuff. But to be fair, Yarmolenko's didn't look anything at the time. It looked quite innocuous, but the way he landed on his knee, it's probably an MCL.
I knew it. He's had knee problems before, hasn't he, mate? He's had long-term problems, and I thought, nah.
Yeah, Achilles as well, and knocks and a foot injury, and he's had a lot while he's been with us. So I can't see him playing again until later this year, if I'm honest with you. I think it's a bad injury.
I just can't see him playing. I just honestly can't see him playing.
I think that's the end of him at West Ham, unfortunately. Definitely. And then Ogbonna's obviously more important, mate, because he's the focal point with Dawson and that team. And a month without him, hopefully Diop can come in, and obviously he got taken off with a concussed sub, but him or Balbuena can step in and do a job. So
I thought Diop actually played quite well when he came on. I know it was only for a brief period of time, but actually he settled down. And me and you have been a little bit sketchy on Diop for probably quite a long time. And actually, I was quite impressed him coming in, slotting in, and I think defensively we have improved massively since last season, and it was good to see that. But no doubt, Ogbonna's a huge miss. I think as well from set pieces. You look at Dawson nearly getting on it towards the end. If Ogbonna's there, maybe we nick something probably undeservedly. But it's a tough one, mate. It's a tough one. Let's hope we get a couple of players back for Sheffield United, and obviously we can push on. And it'd be interesting to see whether Mickey plays or not. Obviously, I thought it was an injury from the last game, so I didn't expect him to come back in for Sheffield United. But we need him, mate. It's the sad thing. We need him, whatever he is, because the difference he makes is massive.
It was the right decision, though, to leave him out of the squad, I think. I do. Yeah. You can't risk him at all. And no, not at all. I wouldn't even have brought him on, mate. Hopefully, like you said, Monday he can come back in. I imagine he will. He'll make a massive difference. But if not, Lingard can play as a false 9, because I remember he did it under Solskjaer when he was interim manager at United, and Solskjaer said how impressive he was. So that's something he could look into, maybe, if not. But yeah, touching on Ogbonna, he's so vital because it's more his clearances, mate. He has the most clearances in the league this season. He's able to get us out of sticky situations. He's there, right place, right time. Yeah. I'm concerned. I know Dawson has that. And, by the way, Dawson looked very good even without Ogbonna as well, because I thought this is a big test for him. But he came through it. It's the thing with Diop is Diop going to make them last-ditch clearances? I don't know. But, it's a good chance for Diop to prove his worth, get some confidence back, get a run of games and show what he can do, isn't it? So...
Yeah, no, 100%. Look, we've got to back him. It's just even with Lingard, listen, I've got no doubt Lingard will put a shift in. It's just in terms of that quality and the way we have to play with a false nine is so different. And I think at times we'll have to probably play with a Benrahma off the left rather than a Fornals because you're going to need to get service in and around Lingard. Otherwise, we're going to be frustrated. And I don't think necessarily against Sheffield United it's a bad thing because I think West Ham could look to press on them a little bit and push further up the field. But against teams like the top teams like we've seen, Man City coming up, when we're sitting in that low block and you give it to Lingard, it's going to be tough for him because Man City are going to pack that midfield at times. But I'm sounding massively negative. But I am feeling generally quite positive about Monday, to be fair, mate. I think we can get a result. And it'd be good to see the players fit again because they've been put under some serious tests, mate. 3 games in a week plus another cup tie. It's a lot, mate.
They've had some hectic games, and especially playing 120 minutes against United as well. It's a tough ask. Maybe we've seen with Rice that it was a bit of fatigue, but to be fair, I know it came from him, but I don't necessarily blame him wholly for that goal because I think a lot happened afterwards.
Yeah, no, of course.
So, but it's one of them. It's, it's unlucky more than anything else. But yeah, it's, what's that comment say? Sorry, mate, I get distracted by the comments all the time.
That's all right. Yeah, that's why I try and look and then go away. We used the whole score against it. We lost and chasing the dream. If we still have 15, 6 is still on. I hope so. I really do. I think it's going to be tough now. If and it was interesting. I don't know if you've seen it. Dean Ashton on Talk Sports said if West Ham have a fully fit first team and they don't get fatigue for the rest of the season, then they've got a chance. But when fatigue kicks in or injuries kick in,
it's a big if. It's a big if, mate, isn't it?
Mate, we've done well. We've done well with our squad depth as it is. We've been very fortunate to a degree. Teams out there, Leicester, for example, and we'll talk about them tonight. They can play a second team in the FA Cup. That's the difference between if we want to go and compete in the 6th place, you have to have options to bring in. And someone said the other night, Man United have made a few changes. But when you can bring on Telles and Martial, those are different types of changes, mate.
Exactly,
the level, There's no change. Ours are enforced. Yarmolenko isn't a striker. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, that's the difference, isn't it? Quality they can rely on from the bench, like McTominay, who's got a lot of goals this season, gets in the right positions. It's a good finish. We can't do a lot about it, but that is the difference in quality. But you hope against teams like Sheffield United fighting for their lives that we can take the game to them, as I'm sure we will. But I think it'll be a difficult game. I think it'll be similar to Fulham, that they'll battle for every second ball, make life difficult, camp outside the box. And make it tough. So, it's not going to be an easy game. No game is in the Premier League. So we just got to hope we can bounce back. But it has been a hectic schedule. So, fatigue probably got the better of the players. And maybe, it's unfortunate, mate, because on another day, when we had a bit of a rest, we could have given them more of a game. But I think it was the right setup. You can't go all guns blazing against top teams because they'll just beat you to shreds, like we said before. But I understand people saying, we could have had a go towards the end of the game more. Maybe brought on Lanzini as well as Benrahma, which I agree with. But as we say every year, mate, maybe next year. So
it's tough, isn't it? I think squad depth just killed us. To be fair, I think if we're sitting here with options to come off the bench and different players, we could have maintained that kind of performance we put in against Aston Villa, or at least been a bit more proactive when we got into that final third. But with respect, when you're playing with the side that we are and Yarma at 9, we were never going to go out there and really push men forward. And it's just one of them games. It's just one of them games. It's frustrating. I get people's frustrations. It's an FA Cup tie. You want us to go for it, but I don't think Moyes is ever really going to go for it in these types of games. He didn't go for it earlier in the season against the top 6. It's all about those game plans. Do you know what I mean? It's just the difference was earlier in the season when we did counter-attack sides, we were effective. I remember playing Man City. We weren't great. We didn't create loads of chances, but we got that goal and then we got a draw and everyone looks at it as a good point. I think expectations are changing now. I think, obviously, as we've got further up the league, people want us to go and compete. And I do get it. We are up there, but probably a time and a place for me.
Yeah, like you said, it's expectations, when you have, when you beat Wolves and Leicester like we did, we kind of, beat them heavily as well. It was convincingly, wasn't it? So, expectations rise. But it's almost, when we lost the other week, it was a slap back down to reality against Liverpool and the same against United as well. We're not, our squad is too thin, mate, to compete against these teams and think, we'll beat them because the squad depth ain't good enough. If we had the players that they had on the bench. I'd argue otherwise, but like I've said to you, you need 2 or 3 strikers if you want to do well in Premier League, FA Cup, whatever else. And we have one, and he's a converted winger. So, and that's no criticism of Antonio. It's just a fact. So, in that sense, and it is just typical as well that injuries are starting to occur. But it is, it's unsurprising, to be fair, because of the amount of games in the schedule that we've had.
Yeah, no, it is to be expected. But listen, hopefully we bounce back against Sheffield United, see a bit of energy in there, get that 3 points, and things start to perk up, because we've got some big games coming up, mate. Spurs, Man City. So we're going to have to be completely at it and fully fit, really, to go and compete in those games. Let's get on to what we're here for. Actually, before we do it, we bounced back from defeats. Hopefully, mate, fingers crossed, Barry. Let's see it. Bowen should be second choice striker again. That sort of Bowen at false nine is going to be banded around, I think, between now and the end of the season, unless we get a free agent in. But discussion for another day, discussion for another video.
One more question, mate. One more question.
Go on.
What are your thoughts on Bowen recently? You think he's been quiet?
I think he's been poor. It's a tough one, isn't it? It's like, I think he's got that attacking threat about him, and it's interesting for Moyes to pull him off against Fulham 60 minutes and then pull him off at half time. It's interesting to see him not employed in a false nine and Yarmolenko. I don't necessarily agree with that. I think the thing with Bowen you have to remember is, yes, I think going forward he's been poor. He's in the side for his defensive work rate at times.
Yeah.
And I didn't think his work rate was actually that bad against Man United first half defensively. We were sitting back a bit, but I think he was just possibly a victim for the changing system as it was. But I know what people are saying. I didn't think he was great against Fulham. I think there were a lot of players out there, to be fair, mate, that weren't great against Fulham. I thought Antonio didn't really do that well. Lingard didn't really get a sniff. I'm sort of a bit tentative to start putting things down to saying, Bowen's having a... And I get why people say that, because you can see it. But I think if we get into that Sheffield United game, give these guys a bit of a break, and then let's judge it then, because it's been difficult with Bowen. Because he didn't play against Villa, did he? He only came on very late on, and then Fulham he went off, and there's been a bit off and on. But hopefully he returns to a bit of form.
It's his first full season in the Premier League as well. That's what you got to remember. You got Lingard coming in, Ben Rama's doing really well. You got Fornals as well, so he's got competition more so than he had, when he came in last season. So he is doing well, like you said. His work rate against United, obviously keeping Telles quiet was important, because Telles likes to get forward almost as a left mid at times. So he did well to nullify him. I just think going forward, he can be very wasteful sometimes. Exactly that. Yeah. I don't think he is. I don't think he's a step ahead as Ben Rama is sometimes, or Fornals. That might be a bit harsh, but that's just my opinion. I think he can be a bit more decisive. I think he holds onto the ball too long in situations like Fornals did the other night, where he could have played it, and being incisive with what he was doing. And I don't know what that is, but that's he's only going to improve on that. And like you said, against Fulham, there weren't many great players bar Souček and maybe Rice. Obviously Villa didn't play, so he's only young as well. He'll only improve. He'll only get better. I just, I think, like, to be fair, like Fornals and Benrahma as well, I just think his end product could improve, but he's only young. So
I'll tell you what, Fornals had me pulling my hair out the other night when we had a 3-on-3 with United, and I'm like, please, Pablo. And the thing is with him, like, I thought we had a good performance, actually. I thought defensively he really dug us out of holes and tried to push us up. But again, it's that kind of, I don't know what it is with West Ham, but it's a level of decisiveness when we get into that final third and earlier in the season. And always go back to the games, Wolves 4-0 and Leicester 3-0. Look how decisive we were when we got that ball. Pablo making that run and scoring that goal. Bowen getting that third against Leicester. I think for some reason, we're not playing like that as much, and it kind of crept in. I remember the last fixture against Sheffield United we played, there was a little bit of wastefulness, and I don't know what it is, but I think that the good thing to remember about, or a positive thing to remember about Bowen and Fornals is they're still young, and the work rate and the genuine desires there. It's just about that composure, and you hope that get this season done and over with, West Ham progress a little bit, build next season, and they start to come to their own a bit and contribute a bit more. Yeah,
exactly. The only thing I'd considering, as someone I'm sure Moyes will, is a bit of pace, mate, going forward. Because
100%.
If you had someone like Adama Traore on that ball against United in that situation, he'd blitz everyone and probably score.
Shame no one would be in the box though. They've been trying to get in the box. He'd be up the other end.
Jimenez in a box, wouldn't you? But no, it's just I think Bowen's quick. I don't think Antonio's as quick anymore. I just think we need a bit more pace in the final third in the summer because it really hurts teams, and against teams where you're not going to have the ball much, you're going to look to counter. I think someone like Adama Traore might be an option. I don't know.
I think this is a big point actually from Jack. Says that it's Masuaku that ruined us. I don't think it necessarily ruined us, but what I will say is when we play Fornals in a 3-4-3, you've got that width and that movement out wide from Masuaku and that pace, and Fornals is able to operate a bit more. That's why he was more effective
centrally. Yeah.
He's effective centrally, but now when you play a 4-2-3-1, he's got to try and cover for the left back in Creswell. That we know that if he gets exploited, again there are issues there. But equally, he can't go and beat a man. As much as I like Fornals, that I think we lack a bit of pace on that left-hand side at times. And Ben Rama's fantastic. He can create, but I would love a direct option down that left, just to force West Ham a bit further up that pitch.
That's what I mean. Yeah, someone like Matty Etherington. Do you know what I mean? So who could just take you on, just bomb down there, get to the white line and cross it in. Because I think, like you said, Ben Rama 4-0. Sorry, mate, we're banging on about West Ham here, but
once you get going, don't stop.
They like to operate. They're almost inverted wingers, so they like to play centrally. Same with Lingard as well. And when you haven't got someone who's going to hug the touchline like Etherington does, or but that point from Jack is true. Masuaku, he was that kind of player that bombed down the line, got the crossing, did a bit of whatever skill, and then crossed it in. But I don't think it's ruined us because we agree that he's not long-term choice for left back, left wing back, whatever.
Or maybe left wing back, but definitely not left back. Left back on.
No, yeah, but
I can't play that.
Yeah, but I do get the point that he did have that injection of pace. He did have the bit of flair that Antonio has as well. So in the summer, I think that's something to explore just a bit more against the big teams. When you don't have the ball, just counter them.
I think that's why we're seeing Fredericks coming on that right-hand side at times, because he's direct and he's not necessarily as technically as good as Jared Bowen, but you just know that his willingness to get to the byline and stretch things is what changes it for West Ham. And you're definitely right. I think for me, we just need a bit of directness. It's fine. And I think we see this against some of the bigger teams where we can't press as a forward four. And we really rely on those wide men to carry the ball. We can't do it off the left. And it hurts our attack and we can't get as forward as much. And Mickey probably has to drop in a bit deeper and everything. We just need a better balance, I think, going forward. And then we can start to play a bit better on that counter.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, definitely.
Look at that, mate. Anthony Robinson, me and you were shouting and screaming.
Oh, we said, didn't we? Yeah.
I know.
He's decent, isn't he? He's a good player. He's adapted well. Looks really good on the ball. And Fulham are a good team as well. It's a good move for him.
Hopefully they go down and he can come up to West Ham. That'd be nice.
Get him and Geisa. That'd be nice, won't it? And maybe Lookman as well. Lookman looks good.
Definitely a couple of players in there, mate. Well, my feelings. Get Harrison Reed in. Bit of a little ball terrier in that middle. Give a bit of energy. That's what I want. But Geisa's different.
What about the Lord, mate? What about
you know my feelings about Lundstrom. He can come in, honestly, no problem. Sanderberg, any of those. I think we definitely need to look at centre midfielders in the summer, no doubt about it. I think everyone talks about strikers and this, and Ivan Toney, from all accounts, is being lined up. Was it some ridiculous stat? I think it's 22 goals, 9 assists in the Championship, and his intelligence as well to link up play is unbelievable. I know we've talked about possibly a lack of pace, but just that overall intelligence. If West Ham can get a Jared Bowen that we see come central with Souček, he's going to have bodies in and around him. I know I'm going off on a tangent about West Ham again, but again, like that, we need to make those signings. We need to make them quickly, and hopefully our season doesn't diminish and we can just keep on to the end. But let's get on to the Premier League. We'll test our knowledge here tonight. Anyone watching now, just drop a like on the stream. We all really, really appreciate it. We're here every Thursday. We should have been here really at 8, but I got my timekeeping wrong, so it'll probably be 8:30 going forward. As you can see on the ticker tape at the bottom, it is Leicester City versus Liverpool. That is a massive fixture. I think, you can never write off Liverpool, but Leicester are in such good form at the minute that really they probably come in stronger. I think, I don't know if me and you have spoke about this before, but their midfield in terms of the balance, Maddison, Harvey Barnes, they've got Jamie Vardy back in the side. Do you fancy Leicester to pull off a result here, mate?
Potentially, yeah. Potentially, but I fancied them before I watched them last night. I thought last night they were passive. Vardy obviously just coming back. Barnes was playing. But the big blow for them was that James Justin got a bad injury, and I think he'll be out for a while.
Such a good player. Such a good player.
I know. So then their dynamic changes because they have Christian Fuchs, who's, safe hands, but he's not exactly that, can get forward and cover 85 yards and round the keeper.
Well, they've got Castagna, haven't they? They've got Castagna and
they've got Castagna,
Pereira, so they can chug along a little bit, I think.
I don't know if Castagna's injured though. I think he is.
God, they got some problems because they got some problems with their left back and right back at the minute anyway, haven't they, mate? How many options they've got? But,
yeah, definitely. But no, obviously Rodgers likes his 4-2-3-1 system. You got Ndidi and whoever covering the back four, and then you got Barnes. Who else you got? I'm having a stinker here. Barnes, Maddison,
Tielemans,
and under Tielemans. Yeah, so you got a lot of good players in there for Leicester. Supposedly Kabak starting for Liverpool, so that'll be interesting to see how he comes in and how he does.
Because they miss Hendo in that midfield, mate. I don't know about how you feel about Liverpool, but it's hurting them.
Not the same team, are they?
No.
Obviously, they've got the Salah, Mane, Firmino, but they just something's not right. Something's not clicking. Something's missing almost. And I think it is Henderson in midfield, and obviously a good defender. I think it'll be a draw. I think Rodgers will settle for a draw because even though he knows Liverpool's weaknesses, still they've still got endless talent going forward. So. But if Vardy's fit and firing, mate, it could be a home win, maybe.
It's hypotheticals. The problem is with Leicester last time out. I think they wanted to play a back five. They wanted to absorb a bit of pressure and hit Liverpool in transition. But I think despite Liverpool not being the same Liverpool that we've seen, they're so good in possession, keeping the ball. Thiago in there now. He's getting a bit of stick, Thiago, because he's not influencing the game as much as people think that he should do. But I think a lot of that's down to why he was brought in. Was to be another option, particularly almost like an 8, get the freedom in that high line where Liverpool are so oppressive and allow him to use his vision in that final third and Henderson do a lot of the work. And now we're seeing Thiago having to cover ground a little bit more. They've changed it a little bit as well. You've got Wijnaldum in the pivot role. It's not really where he plays. So they've lost a little bit of energy in there. But I think if Liverpool get back Fabinho in the holding midfield role and Kabak comes in, and again, can't profess to knowing who Kabak is too much, but I know there's been a lot of interest in him previously. I think you're going to see Liverpool start to be a bit more of an engine room in that midfield, a bit more athleticism, and I think you can start to introduce Mane, Salah, Firmino into the game, and Liverpool will get back to that level, but it's going to take a long time, and the missing of the centre backs has killed them this season.
Yeah, exactly, and Carragher pointed it out on Sky, which was a really good point. Klopp hasn't rotated. All of them in that 11, about 9 or 8 of them have played so many minutes over the last few seasons. That's not an excuse, but the likes of City can obviously rotate because they got Torres, Mahrez, Sterling, Silva, De Bruyne. They got a lot of options. I don't think Liverpool really have that. They have Shaqiri on the bench, don't they, and Origi. So I can sympathise from Klopp's point of view in terms of the front three might be a bit fatigued. They've played a lot of football, but hopefully, There's no doubt that they'll gel again soon, obviously. Curtis Jones has been very impressive, actually. He came on against us and he just changed them completely. But like you said, that midfield presence of Henderson and Wijnaldum, it's missing. They're missing them badly. Fabinho as well, mate, even just to protect the back four, just acts as that shield as well. Just break down attacks from the opposition. They're missing him too. So I can understand that. I think, Liverpool, it is a bad title defence, Well, statistically, is it the worst title defence in 30
It's out there, isn't it? It's up there with old Moisey, isn't it? I think.
Yeah, it is. But it is. God, I didn't think about that. But no, it's
the season, mate. It's just the way that the season's gone. Liverpool, I thought were going to go and win it at a canter at one point. I think they beat, was it Wolves 4-0? And they still had injuries then, and they were looking really lively. I think also the one that's gone under the radar is Jota, and I think Jota gives them that directness and that element to break teams down. Then the midfield is sort of, they've lacked the athleticism. I think probably the biggest criticism for Liverpool fans when they went up against Manchester City was the fact that Man City were able to dominate that midfield and control it so well. And I don't think Liverpool are used to having their midfield dominated and controlled. And they need to get that back. It's going to be an interesting battle against Leicester, because we know Ndidi's used a little bit further up to press, and if he can put a pressure on someone like a Wijnaldum and he can get a turnover in play and get it to Vardy, then there's no doubt that Vardy can cause them issues.
Yeah, no, he can. Obviously, Vardy's, he's got his predatory instinct, hasn't he, running behind. And against Kabak as well, he might fancy his chances. Kabak and maybe Hendo, I don't know. Or maybe Hendo back in midfield.
Maybe Davis, mate. Maybe Davis comes in, we don't know.
Oh, bloody hell. Davis introduced to Vardy in the Premier League. But no, I think Vardy will fancy his chances. That's where they'll look to counter Leicester, to hurt them. Not to hurt Liverpool, sorry. Having a stinker here.
No worries, man.
But no, yeah. Indeed. And then obviously Tielemans pressing or, them rotating is obviously key for Leicester. I think, that game's won in midfield for me massively. And I think Leicester will probably control the midfield. And like I heard Carragher say the other day that Robertson and Trent, they haven't been the same players again because they've played every game for the last 2 years pretty much. It's been and this season.
I think Trent is a problem. Defensively, there are gaps that weren't being exposed before. I'm not digging him out because I think technically he's unbelievable. The guy's passing range and crossing and his shots from the edge of the box.
I don't think he's the best defender. I don't think he's the best. I don't think he's a great defender.
I was just about to ask you about, would you put Vardy on that plane to the Euros? I know he's retired, but Trent as well. That's such an interesting standpoint from a right back. I think he'll play him by virtue of the fact that he has had such a good season previously for Liverpool and he's been consistent in that regard. But defensively, he's a bit over the place. And they're going to have problems. They're going to have problems if he doesn't try and... I know he's still young, but I don't see him as a right back long term. I see him as coming into centre midfield, mate, and he can use that distribution a lot better.
Yeah, I think so. Because he's not the quickest either. Trent, is he? He's not as quick as Robertson. So in a few years, he probably will transition to the midfield. Who was it that skimmed him for City? Was it Foden? For the third goal,
Foden absolutely bodied someone, and I can't remember. It weren't Fabinho because I know he took it past him, but it was somebody. I think it was Robertson. He did Robertson. Yeah, he absolutely did him. And I was like, mate, we'll talk about Foden in a minute, but unbelievable.
Oh, he's different class, isn't he? Different class, but no. Maybe Barnes cutting inside will cause Trent a few problems. I like Robertson. To be honest, I probably think Robertson's better than Trent out of the two. Probably prefer Robertson.
I think defensively he definitely is. No, it definitely is. He definitely is. I think the problem is as well with Trent is, yes, in terms of one-on-one defending, he's not great. Positionally, like I did in my preview, you see that he's always playing inverted, he's always playing off the right, and he always wanders forward. And you see Aston Villa earlier in the season where they just put Grealish on the shoulder on that left-hand side and Watkins, because he leaves so much space. And they put out Foden. It was interesting that they put Foden on there the second half and that he was able to drift into those areas. It just allowed them to just expose him, get him beyond and take advantage of the space. And I actually think this game comes down to, if Leicester sit back against Liverpool, I think they allow them to dominate possession and Liverpool can play to their rhythm and control the game. But if Leicester take that risk and try and press them a little bit, they could force them into issues, create chances, and there's no reason why they can't get goals in this game. It's going to be such an interesting game, mate.
Yeah, it will be. No, I think with City, Liverpool, Guardiola spotted, Liverpool's weaknesses in the first half, changed to a 4-4-2 half time. Yeah. And that's what won them the game. Guardiola's now tactically. But yeah, mate, if Leicester sit back and allow Salah to get Castagna or that youngster Campbell, then they've got a problem. Because you can't do that. But I think they'll be measured in their approach. Last night, they didn't really impress me at all, to be honest. But they have that guile to win games even when they're not playing well now as well. They've been in the top 4 all season, which is really impressive as well. They've never slipped out of it. And they've got that knack of winning games when they don't play well. But it'll be a very, interesting game. I can see it being a 1-1 personally. I think both managers will settle for a point, yeah.
I think Klopp will take a point, mate. 100%.
Yeah, Klopp will bite your hand off for a point. Yeah,
he needs a bit of respite. I think. Do you know what? I fancy Leicester to do it, and I said it last time. I'll probably get egg on my face again, but I actually feel that Leicester this season have impressed me. Like you spoke about being in the top 4 consistently, I think Brendan Rodgers as a manager as well, the mentality to come back in games or not to fall apart in games. I think that Wolves game was probably quite frustrating and And to be fair, they could have fallen apart. And maybe Wolves get a goal from a dodgy set piece, and all of a sudden, they're losing points. But I think this season we're seeing Leicester just grind stuff out a little bit. I was massively impressed when they played Chelsea. I thought it was perfect game plan against Frank Lampard at the time. So I'm going to go 2-1 Leicester for me. You going to stick with your 1-1?
Bold 1-1, yeah. Yeah, I'm sticking with 1-1.
Sit on that fence, my friend.
Sitting on the fence.
No, I'm kidding, man. You got
it's the easiest thing to do.
Yeah.
I think last week we got all of our predictions wrong. Like neither of us got them right. So
yeah, it's the FPL that matters, and I got that one wrong and all this week. So
exactly.
moving on.
Yeah.
Next game is Man City versus Tottenham. It's a massive game, mate. Actually, do you know what? Should we do Arsenal Leeds first? Because I leave the Man City Tottenham's a big one. Let's talk about Arsenal Leeds.
Yeah,
I think this is an interesting one. Obviously, Arsenal. I don't know if you watched Arsenal Villa. They're really struggling, Arsenal, and I spoke about it with you earlier in the season. Their ability to connect between defence and attack is massively impacted. They were like that in the 4-3-3. They're like it in the 4-2-3-1. I think Partey's out as well. Tierney's out. Partey's so important to that side. Just that transition
out again.
And I think that this is the interesting thing, because I feel that if Leeds press, as I know that they will, and try and dominate it, it's going to be a hard afternoon, because I don't know who comes in. I think maybe El Nene comes in alongside Xhaka, and I just feel like that's a bit of a weak double pivot in there. And you look at Rafinha. I thought Rafinha recently, and listen, you're a Leeds boy, you'll know about Rafinha up there. He's different class, mate, isn't he?
Different gravy, isn't he? Yeah, you see that turn against Cahill.
Class.
Different class.
17 mil. Even, where were we?
Even Bamford post-match, he said, you just know when a player comes in training, they're just different class. And he could tell straight away with Rafinha that he was just quality straight away. So, yeah, no, he's obviously a bargain. I'm surprised other clubs didn't call in for him at the time, but I think, my mate said he's a Leeds fan. He said to me the other day that he's got the fear that he'll go before Leeds fans can see him back at the stadium, because what a player he is to watch.
I think Liverpool are looking at him, That's what I've heard.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me, yeah. It would be a dead move for him to go there. He'd just ruin his career going there, but it's his choice. Yeah, but on the game, I think I was looking at Arsenal's bench before, mate. They've got a lot of dead wood. They've got an awful lot of dead wood. El Neni is poor.
Yeah.
Ceballos don't want to be there, said he wants to go back to Real Madrid. You got Odegaard, who's unproven. Martinelli's still a raw product. Aubameyang's obviously different class. You got 3 or 4 players there who are fringe players, mate, who you could do with getting rid of or shipping out. Bellerin as well, or someone like that.
God. So I don't want to dig the geezer out, but Bellerin is awful. Positioning is awful, mate. He loses the ball so much. He's hurting
on the ball. He's bad.
Difference between him and Tierney is frightening. Tierney's such an accomplished defender on that left-hand side, and he's good going forward and good defensively. And Bellerin, mate, he's causing him more headaches than he's worth.
He is, yeah. I like Cedric, to be fair. I think Cedric's decent going forward.
He's done all right on the left. He's actually done not too bad.
He's done okay, yeah. He's done okay, but I think their results have obviously improved because they've put Saka on the right wing, where it's probably his natural position. He's wasted at left back or centre mid or something, but I don't think they have a great squad, mate. Honestly, I really don't. I think they have a poor team as well.
Yeah,
they've got 5 6 good players. Rob Holding, is he all that?
Problem is with Arsenal, I think they've slipped so far now from what they were that they've lost those kind of. At the time, even when they were poor at points under Wenger, they had Sanchez and Ozil and players and Ramsey, players of real genuine quality. And now you look at that Arsenal side and you think the only real one there is Aubameyang, and they still can't. I think he's trying to accommodate Aubameyang into a system, but he's not playing to his strength. Sometimes you see him off the left and it doesn't work for him, and he's down there, and he doesn't use him in the centre at times because he prefers Lacazette's work rate. And Arteta's got a problem, and I don't know how you feel about it. Do you feel it's a case of it's a rebuild job Arteta needs time, or do you think Arteta's the problem? Because I think, depending on where Arsenal finish this season, there are going to be serious questions asked of him.
I don't know. I think it's a rebuild job. I don't think Arteta's necessarily. I like how they've given him time because I think he needs time. Yeah. I don't think, obviously, what's the geezer's name? The Spanish geezer who was there before. Emery. Sorry. Obviously, he's a proven manager, Europa League winner. He couldn't do anything with them, but that just shows what a good manager Arsene Wenger was, because even when he left, mate, he had that kind of, a similar squad to what they have now, and he still managed to get them in the top 4 or thereabouts. So
yeah,
I think it's more of a case of a transition, when City lost Company and Toure and Silva, generational players, it took them time to adapt. But it's taken Arsenal, 2-3 years now, to be fair. But
and they've spent,
like
by the
you
way,
said,
they spent a fair whack on, obviously,
they have
Pepe
spent.
is the big one, and we touched on it last week. He's improving, but again, 72 mil on one player, and you look at the weaknesses
Can
in
never
other areas.
justify that. Yeah, never justify that.
Unless he's a world-class talent,
Never.
and Pepe's unproven in the league, and it was always going to be It's interesting, isn't it? Because I think Leeds fans were talking about these 70 mil for Rafinha or 72 for Pepe, and when you look at it like that, and obviously we had Payet come in for, what was it, 10 mil or something crazy at the time, you can never really know if a player's going to come straight into the league.
I can't believe 72 mil.
Yeah.
Lille have done a number there. Lille have done very well there. Obviously, he had a lot of potential. In the French league, he was ripping it up. He had team of the weeks on FIFA every single week. Pretty much, but,
he's got talent. He's got talent. And I think he's growing into it on that left-hand side a little bit, and he's going to improve. But I think just in general, I think Arsenal's issues are more to do with that midfield. They can't keep Partey fit. They need him badly. I don't think Granit Xhaka is good enough really in that league to play how Arteta wants to play, is have 2 engine rooms essentially at defensive midfield, but have good. He wants real well-rounded players in those 2 pivot roles. And to be honest, he has to go out and get a Basuma in for me. If he's going to improve it, then that's the type of player that you need.
Yeah, exactly. Basuma's transitional player, maybe partnering Partey's Partey. Sorry,
yeah.
I just said that accidentally, but no, it's a good midfield partnership to have, mate. It's a good balance, because like you said, I don't think Xhaka, he's completed the most passes, by the way, for Arsenal this season, which is surprising.
Interested, because he keeps slotting into centre back and picking the ball up off the keeper, probably.
Exactly, yeah, probably passing it sideways, but no, he's not that level to guide them forward. I think other than Aubameyang, I don't think they have a lot in that team. Obviously, Saka as well is probably going to be world class in a few years. Lacazette's good. Is he that top 4 level? I'm not sure. I think it's a combination of both, mate. I think Arteta was a very risky appointment. Well, yeah, exactly. They're not, but I think, appointing Arteta was always going to be risky. Evening, mate. But
don't talk about Noble retiring, mate. Don't ruin it. We'll start crying, mate.
Yeah, possibly. No, I don't want to talk about that, mate, to be honest. Yeah, I want to know the comments' thoughts on Arsenal as well, because it's a weird one. I don't really know what the problem is there. It's almost like it will take 3 to 5 years to rebuild and go again. Because they're way off it for me. I watched them against Villa, and they were way off it. They looked light years behind Villa.
They had a good 20 minutes, I think, and then they but then it suited Aston Villa. They got the early goal. It was very, very easy for them. I think Arsenal make too many mistakes in defence as well. It doesn't help them. It's an interesting one. It's like one of those moments where I remember when Ollie came into Man United, and people were like, do we get rid of him, or do we just let him come in, try and get rid of Deadwood, and then get a decent-ish squad? And I think that's what we're looking at with Arteta now. Probably Arteta is a better coach than Ollie. I don't really rate Ollie at all, but just from the premise of he's got rid of Socrates and Ozil and players like that. Maybe it's a case with Arteta that he just has to get that squad right. And if he can't go and take them on, then Arsenal go and bring somebody else in. But there's always that horrible period of time, mate, isn't there, at clubs where you have to start getting rid of the old, bringing in the new, and managing that's such a tough process.
Exactly. And I think it's Arsenal's egos as well. I think some players think they're better than what they are there. Obviously, Ceballos said, I want to go back to Real Madrid and play football. He's not going to walk into that team, is he? Because he can't even do it for Arsenal. You know what I mean? Saka's obviously exceptional, Aubameyang, but said it time. Other than them two, mate, I can't see another top 4 player in the team. Smith Rowe's a project. Xhaka's not good enough. So, Ceballos, Belneny, Bellerin, Holding.
No, not good enough. You're right. And it was interesting, wasn't it? When you see him against Villa, genuinely, I thought Villa had the better team. And when they come on the pitch and you see them actually for what they are, not just the names, you actually think, people are going, Aston Villa beat Arsenal. Well, yeah, they did, because they're a better side at the minute and they're playing better football.
Exactly. Arsenal, this summer for Arsenal is absolutely massive. It's huge in terms of clearing out the deadwood, bringing in the right players like Basuma, proving in the Premier League, and then maybe maybe a combination of exciting but potential, world-class players as well. I think that's what they need, because at the moment they don't look like a top 7 team.
No.
We look light years ahead of them as well.
Yeah.
But that's a lesson for big clubs. Sometimes you don't need to spend big to get a great player. Look at Rafinha, Souček. Players like that. They're for pennies, mate. If you do your scouting on them,
mate, they're paying Willian 200k a week, and they've got Smith Rowe just walked in and is playing better already. So Odegaard they brought in, and you see Odegaard come in, I think, for probably like 20, 30 minutes. You can already tell he was making more happen than William was. Do you know what I mean? Chris says they can have Yarmouth for 15. Yeah, I'll tell you what, mate, we need some money. let's get rid of him. Probably a bit insensitive. Chelsea he's just done his injury, so but yeah.
Yeah, no, it is. Chelsea got a great deal for Willian, though. Fantastic deal.
Mate.
I know it's a free, but even still getting him off the books is...
It's the profile, isn't it, mate? It's the profile of player that they've brought in and the wages that they've brought him on. And William was never going to do it. I think there's something massively sus about that deal. I don't understand it. I don't get...
Was it a 3-year deal?
A 3-year deal on 200k a week. Why? I don't get it. And at the time, they were playing 4-3-3. So realistically, he was going to play either on the right or the left. And why would you play a 32-year-old that had an okay into the season for Chelsea and give him a 3-year deal till he's 35? He's robbing a living, Willian, at the minute.
Yeah. That's the problem, mate. He has been a good player at Chelsea, but he's 32.
Yeah.
That for me is the problem. That's something we do. I just want to touch on that comment from a Woolly Jumper. About
I was going to wait till we'd done it, but you go for it, man.
I like him. I like him a lot. He is a good player. I'll send him that in the DMs personally, because I don't. Or I might put it on Twitter. Who knows? But yeah, I'll do that for you, Woolly Jumper. No problem.
Lovely stuff. Make sure you like as well, Woolly Jumper, in return for those stats. He's giving it. Amalia says William got a 3-year deal. Yeah, and it makes crazy when you think about it. So he's robbed them blind.
Agent work, that. Yeah, his agent work.
No, do you know who his agent is, by the way? Kia Jarabshin, the same agent of Carlos Tevez. And he's got a penchant for pulling deals and stunts. So no surprise there.
There you go. Blame it for Sheffield United relegation.
Yeah, no, exactly.
You're welcome, mate.
Yeah, no. So let's talk about Leeds. Listen, they're getting a bit excited over there, and I do get it to a degree. They've obviously got Bielsa. They play some good stuff. Paddy Bamford's got 12 goals this season, and he's only 4 off what he got last season in the Championship. I do understand they're excited, but do you really? I sound like I'm digging them out, but do you really think Leeds can get Europe? It's a big ask, mate, and they've got to go on a serious winning streak to compete and stabilise in one of those European spots.
No, I don't. No, not for me. I think top 10 at best, because I think they've obviously just come up in paranormal circumstances. Arsenal finished 13th. Jeez, to be fair, it's not a bad shout. I'll probably say 12th for Arsenal, to be fair. Imagine Arsenal finishing 12th. Anyway.
I'm not sure they'll get top off. I'm really not sure they'll get top off.
No, I don't think they will either. No, not for me. Leeds, yeah. What were we speaking about again?
Sorry, mate, Leeds. Do you think they can get Europe?
There we go. No. I think top 10's a massive achievement. Obviously, I think the long-term injuries to Llorente and Robin Koch are massive for them. I think the defence is very leaky. Liam Cooper's a good defender, but he's not Premiership level for me. And obviously they've got Struijk who's coming in, and he's an academy product, so he's young. He's only 21. So coming in for him, playing every week's a big ask as well. But in terms of, the mid, they haven't got superstars, Leeds, but they do. Bielsa again, he gets a lot of stick, but he is a very good manager in terms of what he gets out of them players. Because I think 8 or 9 of them players were playing in the Championship last season, bar Rafinha and maybe.
Yeah, this is the thing.
Rafinha.
This is the massive thing about Leeds is they obviously brought in Robin Koch, Llorente, Rodrigo, Rafinha, and they wanted to add quality to what they already had and that ethos and build them in. But actually, it's the players in the Championship that have done a lot of the business, like Paddy Bamford. You hear from Leeds fans saying, well, is he good enough? Can he make that step up? But actually, I like his movement. I think in the Premier League, that type of movement that he's got causes teams issues, and that's where they're getting the goals.
It does.
Jack Harrison as well, mate. I know he's inconsistent early doors, but some of the goals that he scores, he's a good player. He's got good talent, and he's still young.
Yeah, yes, he's from Man City, isn't he? I don't know if they've got a buyback clause in him, actually, because they usually do. They do with Douglas Luiz, Man City, but no, he's a very good player, just scouting like that, mate. And, obviously Calvin Phillips coming through, Stuart Dallas playing in the middle, the utility player that he is. He can play anywhere, that geezer, by the way. Yeah, but most of them are championship players, and the way Bielsa's got them playing that high press, that intensity, obviously with the ball keeping it simple, but they got the flair as well. And, like you touched on, Bamford's having a great season. Just that positional awareness, to obviously the other day, Rafinha had a shot saved, but Bamford's awareness just to follow it up, get in the right position. He's been their talisman. So, maybe even someone like him for West Ham in the summer. I know I'm going back to West Ham, but I wouldn't mind it personally.
I don't think they will. They love Bielsa, don't they? Up there, they're absolutely converted, and I think that's That's why I get when people were saying, is he top 3 coaches in the world? I don't know if I'd go that far. I was a bit unsure about that whole competition, but I think when you look at what he's done with that group of players and he's transformed them, I'm more interested to see what happens to him when he leaves, because he's going to leave at some point, and whether these players revert to their... Because I feel like Bielsa is that mastermind behind this Leeds side, and yes, they've got talent, but I actually think if he goes, do they drop off? Because Paddy Bamford was never at that level or even in contention, really. And now he's come up to the Premier League.
Middlesbrough, mate. Yeah, he was
lone spells everywhere, mate.
Yeah. Obviously, he's a former Chelsea, youth product, so he's got a bit of talent about him, when he was younger. But I just think it's Bielsa's kind of what he's instilling in him, like that comment said about the speed and getting them up and down the pitch, and Calvin Phillips almost dropping in the back three sometimes, and the wing backs bombing forward. They're all. It's not to be harsh, but some of them are very average players. Alioski's not great,
But they make a lot of mistakes, mate. I watched them against Tottenham, and the first 20 minutes they were making mistakes. The first 20 minutes they played very well, and then the mistakes started to creep in. And I said to people that were digging them out, I said, if Leeds actually get some quality players in here that don't make these type of little sloppy technical mistakes, they're going to look more and more impressive. So you can't write them off for that. It's at times been this season where they've done those mistakes, and then they've gone on to be beaten 2-3-0 like against Tottenham. But actually, you think about it and go, I think recently they've started to stamp those out. And I think that's why they're getting a bit excited, because they feel like they've adapted to the league.
Exactly. That comment, by the way, Mark Noble's 34 in April, I think.
Is he? But I'm feeling old now.
Oh, no. Marky, no. I remember making his debut, but... I think... I'd honestly give Bielsa a shout for manager of the season. I think he's up there. He's top 5 for me. Moisey, yeah. And maybe Mikel Arteta, I'm joking. Just the way he's got them playing. I think he'll go back to Argentina, though, soon. I think that's where he wants to go. So it wouldn't surprise me when he leaves if he goes back there to his home. It is very interesting.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because Alu says here about them sort of building a team and improving on it. I think it's interesting because this is the longest time Bielsa's been at a club out of any of the other clubs that he's managed. And he obviously got that affinity with the Leeds fans, and they love him and he loves them. And maybe, listen, if they keep him for another season or two, maybe they can build something. Leeds is a weird one because they're a massive club, but obviously they've been out of the league for so long that it's like, and I think they're very, very ambitious from what I understand as a club, and they've got that investment in and they want to go and build on. So I think next season we'll see Leeds perform even better and more consistently, unfortunately for us, because I think they'll be a tough outfit to compete against, mate.
Yeah, massive. They're a huge club, to be fair. Obviously, I know about it because I'm from there, and my mates bang on about it to me, how big they are, they're bigger than West Ham and all this, but...
behave yourself.
No, yeah.
Not quite.
That's what I say. It's a shame we didn't get to see the fans this year as well, because, in terms of how they follow the team home and away, they'll fill every away section, they'll fill every home game. Brilliant supporters. But I wouldn't be surprised if Bielsa stays, surely because of the new backing they've got coming in from that American football team. Is it? Yeah.
49ers, isn't it?
Yeah, 49ers, yeah.
Look at me. I end up on all these TV and I know half the stuff about their team. Just pointless knowledge, mate.
Yeah. I think I want him to stay another season and see what he can do with that Leeds team. If he gets significant backing in the summer, gets a few players in the mould of Rafinha, maybe they can go for Europe next season. There's no reason why not. I just think Bielsa won last season maybe with the fans in the Premier League because that's what they've waited for 14 years now. The fans want that. So
it's a good shout.
If Leeds got some,
I think exactly, to be fair, I think they actually do in Koch and Llorente. They just haven't played.
Koch's very good, yeah.
And I think they give them time, bed them in, and I think we'll see. But people like Luke Alien's playing out his skin, and I don't really rate Alioski, but if they can go and bring in a decent left back and a right back, then of course they'll improve. Let's talk about score predictions.
Sorry, mate. One more thing. Even the youth. When I was at Wigan doing an internship, there was Joe Gellart, who obviously
he got on the bench the other day.
Yeah, and he's an absolute problem. He reminds me of Wayne Rooney, the way he moves about the pitch with a ball. He's got that kind of bulky physique. He's nice lad as well, proper down to earth. But they've got him, they've got Pervader, they've got Charlie Cresswell, they've got Somerville, who's a problem as well. They've got a lot of good young players at Shackleton as well who can come in, and I think that Guardiola's emphasis on that as well is very impressive, as you know, mate. So I like what he's doing there, yeah.
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting. And definitely, I think Leeds, if they keep up a run and they can compete in the top half, I think they will finish top half this season, but there are a few teams up there, particularly us. We've played well this season. I know we've had a dip, but there's no reason why West Ham can't go and get a couple of results and we're sticking it around 5th to 8th. And obviously we know Villa have got 2 games in hand, so it's not going to be easy for someone like Leeds to jump in. Exactly. But score prediction, mate, what are we saying for this one?
I'm back in Leeds. I don't think Arsenal are anything special. Yeah, I think 2-1. I think Arsenal will score, but I think Leeds will run with it, mate. I don't rate Arsenal at the moment.
I think 2-0 Leeds.
What do you say?
I think 2-0 Leeds. Yeah. And I think, interestingly, because they're cutting out some of those mistakes, and I think Arsenal are a bit blunt in terms of their attack and their transition, and they're not really a counter-attacking side. They try and keep the ball a bit more, play sometimes with a bit of a higher line. I just feel like Leeds are going to be up for it. They're in good form. I think Rafinha is going to cause them nightmares. I think Bamford's movement as well is a bit of a problem, and they're just in that right element of form. So roll on the hysteria. I'm sure they'll be getting Champions League when they beat Arsenal. Willie Jumper says 3-1 Leeds. I wouldn't be surprised if it was a 3-1, mate, to be fair. I think definitely Leeds to win this game.
Imagine Rafinha against
Holding.
Well, Tierney could come back in, to be fair. Holding. Jesus, it's a murder on paper, isn't it? Are you just saying 2-0 Leeds because all Leeds TV might be watching this, or what?
I don't care, mate. They think I'm a Leeds fan anyway. I have to back West Ham every week. It's like Warzone going on there with a Tottenham fan. It's nuts.
I get that question all the time from my mates. Why are you a West Ham fan when you're from Leeds? All the time. Bamford for the England squad.
Too much for me.
Probably not. I'd take Kane, Calvert-Lewin.
Ings was brilliant tonight.
Ings was brilliant tonight. Yeah, you can't ignore him, can you?
Ings for West Ham, mate.
Any day, absolutely, mate.
He's what, do you know when me and you sit here and we say, does he fit the system? He's just so good a player. I just think, just bring him in. Just bring him in. He's that good, and he works hard. And yes, he's not the quickest, but his runs are super intelligent. I know we got lucky tonight, but even at times he was dropping deep and finding men getting on beyond him. And I was like, honestly, Danny Ings, if you could get him into West Ham, that would be unreal.
It's a perfect, because he wants European football as well, doesn't he?
Come on, you Irons. We're going on the European tour. Hopefully.
Get Moisey on the blower to Ings' age. And Ings, do you fancy coming West Ham?
I've got to be honest. I think Man City are sniffing around him. That's what I've heard. I think if they can go for Haaland, if they go for Haaland, they will. But if West Ham act early, which we never do, and we get European football, then get him for the right price, 20-25 mil, which actually I think I wouldn't say it's a steal, but I think because of the quality of the player, and people say, oh, he's had injuries before in the past, but mate, he's different level. Honestly, it's just unbelievable. He's so underrated compared to what he should be. And I think England particularly, I'd love to be able to get Vardy back on that plane. If we could get Vardy for just 1, for just one tournament. I think give DCL in there, Kane, Ings. There's some sick options there up front. So getting a bit excited
just a lot of versatility, mate. You know, Vardy'd be his last one. He'd want to prove a point. Obviously, you got Kane, who's class.
Did it again last night, didn't he? Come back in, scored.
Exactly.
Class act, isn't he?
Changes that team, doesn't he? One-man team again, by the way. But what was I going to say?
Good versatility, good options. No, we've just got good options. That's the thing. DCL's come in and be more of an aerial threat. I thought DCL was very good last night as well, and his link up with
took his goal well.
Yeah, and I can't remember who he linked up with, but very intelligent player. So definitely. So I think it'd be tough for Bamford to get in on back to the original question. But if one of them got injured, I'd take Bamford if he's fully fit.
Yeah. Purely Bamford wouldn't be chosen because all the other strikers have done really well this season. That's why.
I would have said, by the way, if we could have kept Mickey fit for a season and one of them, the big four dropped out, I'd have whacked Mickey on the plane because just a different type of player that he is would have been great to see.
You got I'd hate to be Gareth Southgate. You got so many options. So it's not it's an unenviable position to be in, isn't it?
Well, now Foden's gone and kicked on. I think he's a bit like, I don't know what. Foden, Mount. But talking about Phil Foden, let's talk about Man City. Let's segue. I did give him us a 2-0 leads, just to check. Listen, we got
one
Man
thing, mate.
Hey, go on.
Yeah, well, I've seen predicted lineups saying like you play 4-4-1, you put Grealish and Maddison in the centre mid.
Do you know what? I was really angry. I was really angry the other day, just for everyone and the benefit of the stream and watching this. I saw 90 Min put out something comparing. They were comparing Maddison to Rice, and Maddison won, I think, by 73%. A, they're not the same type of player.
Polls. Yeah.
But B, it shows you the disrespect Declan Rice gets. And do you know what I hate about it as well? Is the minute he moves to another club, then he'll get the respect that he deserves. And it hurts me that is what it's going to take for people to take this guy seriously. Because honestly, mate, how he still gets disrespected, like even now. And the thing is with him, we've touched on it. He's 21 and he's captain of West Ham. Do you know what I mean? He's improving.
Exactly.
I'm telling you now, in 3 years' time, can you imagine what player England have got on their hands?
Exactly. Yeah. Like Kane, Rice, Grealish. I think it'd be Rice and Henderson in midfield because I think Rice is the best defensive midfielder England have got.
Agree.
If I'm being honest. Them two in the middle have Grealish and then don't know how we could put out wide, to be honest. But could put
Foden on the left, could put Rashford on the left. There's options, mate.
Yeah. Your front three would be Sterling, Kane, Rashford. There's no second debate about that for me.
Really? I'll get torn between
Sterling, Kane, Rashford every day.
Do you know what I think is going to happen? I'll tell you now. I think it's going to be Rice, Henderson holding midfield, and then you're going to end up with Mount in some sort of 10 role, and probably Rashford on the left, and then Grealish only ever come on the left. But I think if England are clever, you play Grealish at 10 because I just think that movement and the creativity in front of him. And imagine if you can get Vardy on the plane, mate. Do you know what I mean? That link up between someone like a Vardy or a Grealish is different gravy.
Would you play Mason Mount though? Yeah.
I think Mason Mount is.
Sure.
I think Mount's underrated as a player generally.
He is. Yeah.
But would I play him? Depends how he wants to play. He always wants to play with a double pivot, and I'm not really that convinced as to why we need it. I would actually really like to just have possibly Rice as the holding midfielder, which I don't think we get because Hendo starts. Wait, what's this? Sorry. Just laughing. Let's have a look. I hear from my United mates all the time. It does my nutting, man.
Okay. On that comment, Rice is better than McTominay. He's better than Thomas Partey. He's better than Xhaka. He's better than Ceballos. He's better than Fred. So that's
talking about Man United. Can I just say something about
Man United and Arsenal?
Declan Rice walks into all of their midfields. I'm not exaggerating. The only midfield in England in the top tier is City, and that's debatable because I think he would do a better job than Rodri. I'm sick and tired of having to defend Declan Rice. West Ham fans, we know his quality. And it's a shame that...
Here for Hummers, sorry. You tell your mates that Rice is better than all your midfield.
Yeah, you tell them, exactly. He walks into the midfield. God, dear.
It's true.
I don't know what Chris, you're going to have to... I've lost the context here, but if you just come back to me, I don't know what comparison was made.
Rice and
We're talking about.
Chris, you'll have to let us know, mate. Rice and Chris, let us know, mate.
Yeah, come on, Chris.
I
Jackson, who plays right wing for England? Well, it'll probably be Sterling, I imagine. That's an interesting one.
Sterling on the other. Well,
you think? No. Because he loves Rashford on the left, doesn't he? So he'll play Sterling on the right, I think. But Sterling does play
to be fair,
left for Man City.
Rashford on the right against Burnley for United was terrible. He wasn't the same player. On the left, he's different. But maybe even I don't know. Maybe Sancho, but he doesn't start in my opinion.
He's had a bit of a dip in form, isn't he, from all accounts? But I think
Sancho's probably the most natural fit. Yeah.
Sancho's a class player. I actually think Sancho's probably got. I don't even want to say it because I think Sterling has churned out some serious end product, but I feel like Sancho's got possibly a higher ceiling. He's stunted a little bit at Dortmund at the minute, but if you can get him into England and particularly with one of the top teams, I think you'll see him flourish a bit more. And talent-wise, he's unbelievable.
That's where he wants to come. Yeah, that's where he wants to come in at United. I'd probably play right wing. I'd probably play Foden there from the other day against Liverpool when he cut inside and just obviously dispatched it into the net. I'd probably play him there because he can cut inside. You can rotate him with him and Grealish. Maybe put Grealish on the right. There's options, isn't there? And that's what we love to see. There's a lot of options. Grealish, he can probably play either side. Yeah. I know that's what Southgate has in abundance now, versatility. And like a comment said earlier, if you don't get to the semis, for me, it's a massive underachievement and you've failed. I think you've got to get finals for me. I think that squad is unbelievable. And in a few years as well, when you've got like Saka in his prime and DCL in his prime and Mount in his prime.
Well, the difference between Foden and Rashford, and the only criticism of Rashford, we will get onto Man City Spurs, but it is an interesting topic. The England thing is such an interesting debate, and I'm sure everyone's going to be debating, or they already are, to be fair, what team you're going to put out, at least put on that plane, or what's England's best starting 11. But I feel like Foden is better at beating a man one-on-one. Rashford is fantastic when you're in transition. He must be one of the best players. Honestly, when he plays on that left-hand side and he's got space to run into, he's frightening. When he's got players up against him in a low block, he can't break them down. Reason why, when he comes off the left and he cuts in, Rice and Maddison. Yeah, exactly. Yes. I was thinking Chris is talking about me. I've made some weird comparisons. Rice and Maddison, yes, correct. But no, seriously, I think, Rashford's a good player, but I think he's a little bit predictable possibly for teams. That's why at times I would sit here and say, if you play Grealish, by the way, on the left, instead of Rashford at times, You can't stop him in transition, but say they're playing and they're sitting deep, Grealish is the guy to either draw you out of that position or take you to the byline. That's why he's so impressive. That's the difference. And there's no doubt against some of the smaller international teams in the Euros, we're going to come up against that type of opposition. We've got to have options. My concern going into this tournament actually is that he's going to be too defensive minded. I think someone's touched on it, possibly having the wing back system in there. And we're not going out and pressing these teams like we can. And it's interesting because I think when Rice and Henderson play together, they don't really know how to work together because Henderson naturally wants to drop deep, pick up the ball, but Rice also wants to do the same. And then he doesn't know whether to go and press or sit. And I remember Calvin coming in, I think it was second half against Belgium, and Calvin just sat in a pivot and Declan could just go and drive with the ball and he just looked a bit more comfortable. So I think there's serious questions, mate. But I'm not sure Southgate's the guy to get the best out of this side, but we'll see.
I think you can rotate. I think going off the last World Cup, mate, when he had probably a weaker squad and he did that well. And he wasn't accountable for what happened in the semis when Sterling, or was it Kane didn't square it to Sterling? Kane. One of the two. If you do that, we're through to the finals, mate, aren't we? So I think what he's done with that, in that World Cup was an overachievement as well. A very good tournament. And if you're basing it off that, and the more options he's got, the considerable more options he's got now offensively, I think we're favourites for the tournament. I really do. Us and maybe, I think Portugal are outsiders as well.
Oh, Cancelo, Ronaldo, Fernandes, João Felix.
Massively out. Yeah.
Pereira.
For me.
It's,
yeah.
Hang on about... sorry, I'm just having a look at... I've got to stop putting these comments up, mate, because it throws me out. Stone centre-back with Maguire. Who dubiously got man of the match the other night, which was a little bit bizarre. I think John Stones...
I'd agree.
Take it from someone, Jack, that said John Stones shouldn't come to West Ham. I've got it so wrong.
I said the same.
Yeah. He looks a different player at the minute. He walks into that England team brilliant. And do you know what's interesting as well? I think I saw it was an Everton fan talking about him because they were asking about his form and has he been one of the best performers in the league? And he said, but when he was at Everton or when he was a more defensive-minded player before Martinez come in, he was a good defender. And then he got obviously lulled into the fact that he's a ball playing. And I think he could play. If you could play him centre defensive midfield in a possession-based side, I think he could do it. But it's not his game. And I think now you've seen him revert back. And he's got Diaz alongside him that's a bit no-nonsense that can defend very, very well. For me, it's interesting because I think we could see the return of Maguire and Stones. And we had that in the 2018 World Cup. And we've kind of deviated. We've deviated now. We use Kyle Walker there. So I'm interested to see how Southgate plays it. But for me, Stones has got to start.
Even a back five, mate. You go Stones, Maguire, and Walker as a right centre back, and then you have Reece James. I don't think Trippier's. And Trippier got a ban anyway.
Didn't he bet on his moves to somewhere? Or I can't remember what it was.
Yeah. I think Trippier's 31 now. I think he's a bit past it. He's a good right back for the bench. But you either have Trent or Reece James there for me. Left back, you have Chilwell. No brainer. But then again, Chilwell and Shaw, very close. Yeah, very close. I wouldn't like to be in Southgate's position, I tell you.
It's a lot about
on form.
Yeah.
Yeah, on form, I'd go Shaw.
Yeah.
On ability, Chilwell.
Do you know what it is though, mate? That's just what I'm saying. It's timing, innit? At the right time, Shaw is looking more prominent in that Man United side and Chilwell's dropped out of that Chelsea side just because he's not a wing back. And it's not because he's a bad player. I would have said definitely Chilwell started the season. But now it's like, and you've even got, this is what I want to see. And I know we've massively deviated. We should have just done international talk. But Saka can play left back, right? If Southgate's very clever, he's got a lot of versatile players here. Now technically Declan could play centre-back. Calvin's played centre-back for Leeds as well. There are players in there that he can double up in and try and get as many of those attacking creative players in that side as possible. If I was Southgate, I'd be sitting there going, Kyle Walker can play right back, centre back. There's so many options and I don't want to dig Southgate out because I actually do feel like it's such a tough task. You need someone to really understand and he'll never get it right because we'll be sitting there going, where's Foden? We need Mount in this game or something like that. But as long as he doesn't play someone like a Mount off the right like he did in a few of the friendlies, then we'll be all right.
Yeah. I think that's just experience. I don't think every fan will agree with what team he picks because there's so many options, like you said. I think some may say, well, Wan-Bissaka should have been starting at right back or Shaw should have been starting at left back because he's in the better form.
You don't even get a sniff, Wan-Bissaka, Don't even get a sniff.
What the hell was that? Recent comment, by the way. Anyway. No, I think my team... I don't want him to pick Pickford in goal because I don't rate Pickford that much either.
Yeah.
Personally. So
someone asked that actually, Pope.
Yeah, Pope, definitely, yeah. I want to hear your team after this, mate. I'd have Pope in goal. I'm struggling, mate. I can't even, I go Reece James, right? Stones, Maguire, Chilwell, Rice, Hendo, Sterling, Foden, Rashford, Kane. That's my starting 11 for the Euros.
Oh, really? On form?
Yeah, just in terms of that. Yeah, Foden as well can offer something different. You can rotate him. Rashford, even Kane can drop a bit deep in times like he did for Spurs. You've got so many options. I think the talent there is endless as well. So,
yeah, for me, Pope starts. I'll play Reece James in there at right back. I'd have to probably play Stones. I want to play Walker, but it does. I might just have to go Stones
defensively though.
I might have to go Stones Maguire because of the partnership that they've had before, and I feel if he's got a bit more of a mobile player around him, I think Maguire's better. He struggles when he's got like an Eric Dyer there because neither of them can go and win that ball and get back in time, and won't be able to play that high line. I think we'll be better in possession. I think, to be fair to Maguire, he's got a decent pass on him, but I'm probably splitting hairs with this one. Yeah. On current form, I play Shaw at left back. I think he's class, mate, defensively going forward. I think Chilwell probably is a bit more of an attack-minded left back, but I certainly feel that Shaw's got both in his locker, can slot into a left-sided centre-back as well.
Yeah, I don't think Chilwell's as good as Shaw is defensively either.
No.
I'm not sure. I'm not convinced on Chilwell defensively, to be honest. Just yet.
But I think obviously he got away with. I think he just played into his strength with Lampard because he wanted to play that higher press side and he wanted to push forward those fullbacks and it did suit him. But so I'd have that. I'd go Declan. hang on, what's going on here? Here's my team, Pope, Trippier. I wouldn't have Trippier anywhere near it. I just wouldn't. I don't know what it is about it.
I just can't leave Sterling and Rashford out of that team. I can't.
Hang on, I'll finish mine.
Too good.
I'll finish mine before I forget. Declan obviously starts. I personally wouldn't have I wouldn't have Hendo and Rice because I just don't think it works. But let's just say we'd have to put Henderson in there. I think Grealish at 10. I think personally, I'd probably go Sterling on the right, Foden on the left, Kane down the middle.
That'd be Rashford. You leave Rashford out.
It's something about Rashford that I can't get behind. I just can't because he's not going to be able to unlock teams. That's the only criticism I've got of him.
He's got something though, hasn't he?
No. Look at him the other night. I'm not saying he's not a good option to come on, but look at him the other night against West Ham. He didn't really threaten. He had one chance and Fabianski snuffed him out. And it's very predictable. No, Jack, Reece James is good enough. He's good enough. Trust me. I think he could.
Yeah, he is. He is
I respect your opinion. Everyone's allowed their opinion and blah, blah, blah.
I want that comment, if you could pick 3 players for West Ham, one from each of the bottom 3 teams, who would you pick? That's a good comment.
Oh, yeah. Willie Jumper, if he's still here. He's probably gone now because we haven't done his question. If you get 3 players from West Ham, one from the bottom team. All right, okay. So let's start with the bottom, Sheffield United. Sanderberg would be my first choice to come in.
Let me think about this. Yeah, Sanderberg, yeah.
Sanderberg. And then I think...
West Brom, Sam Johnston for me. Great keeper.
Part of me's like, do we
Fabianski's successor.
Do we bring Grady back? There's always that part of me that...
Don't go back to... Don't go back to...
You wouldn't have him back? Would you have him back? If he was... Oh, do you know who I would like? And he wouldn't fit into our side at all because we've got so many of them. Pereira.
Yeah. He's quality, yeah. No, I wouldn't have Grady back, no.
Interesting. Fair enough.
I don't want to be harsh. I think obviously he was a very good young product at the time, but I think that ship's kind of set. I think we kind of moved on from him now. I think we've got better attacking options. Personally,
yeah. Look, Willie Johnson's going to go very, very clear. Yeah, Ebian Guisa, I think from Fulham.
He's a problem.
Or Anthony Robinson, I'd take. But then I think if you're looking at it from take out the quality point of view and look at it more from options, I think. We've got Arthur's. I don't think Arthur's going anywhere. I've got Cress. If you get a wing back in, how often does Robinson play? I haven't seen him too much. I think he's good at left back. He's very attack-minded, mate.
Yeah, the thing is, Anguissa and Burge are very similar kind of players. They like to get forward. They like to, run with the ball, make progressive runs and break up the play. I'll probably choose Anguissa over Burge, personally. Because every time I see Anguissa, he's so good running forward with the ball and putting a tackle, reads the game superbly. For me, if we did before we had Souček, I wanted Anguissa to partner Rice, but I know Anguissa's not going to bomb forward. Probably Rice was more likely to bomb forward. You know what I mean? With out of possession. So
no, I get it. I think Anguissa's probably an all round. Like the way that he can progress with the ball and beat men and win the ball back, it is impressive. And he's been given a license to do that at Fulham. He's got Harrison Reed just sitting behind him, and he can also double up as well. Walker cannot be trusted. That's actually such a good point. He's a bit suspect, is Walker.
He always has been. He
always has been, mate. I'm a bit wary, but I think he'll definitely get on the. He's got to get on the plane, hasn't he? Surely. Or maybe he doesn't. I don't know.
He has to. Yeah, Cancelo's obviously done very well this season, and Walker's got. He got to get him on the play. Yeah,
no, it's going to be interesting.
No
people are going to be upset, man. People are going to be upset when it comes to it because there's definitely going to be one that's going to miss out that we're all going to sit there and if it falls apart, we'll be going, see, look, should have brought him on. But I think it'd be interesting to see whether he goes Foden. And my concern would be with the Foden thing is even though he's shown, honestly, the quality of that guy is unbelievable at that age to play the way he does. And the improvement that he's going to make. But, we had that mishap as well, don't we, in that for that Iceland game. And does Southgate look at it and go, you're too young for it? I don't know. Those are the types of things that Southgate would do.
Well, yeah. Even Guardiola said today, he came out saying he's not the finished article. He's not.
We didn't fancy Grealish for ages. Do you remember? He didn't fancy Grealish at all. And that is you can't leave him off that plane.
Exactly. I just think he'll think that Foden's a good option to have off the bench, but he's not the finished article. He's not you know, if some games might get the better of him, so maybe you start someone more senior like Sterling who knows the international stage more. Maybe I think he'll go a safer bet, and then if things aren't working, he'll experiment. But I'd go safe. That comment from Jack saying 2 big mistakes selling Dean Garner and Cullen. I agree with Dean Garner because I think he was so excited at the time. Cullen, for me, was a good backup option, but he was never going to make it. Being honest,
it depends how you it depends how you define it, though, doesn't it? Does he mean in terms of was it a mistake actually with his quality level? I don't think so. I think even the jury's out to a degree with Grady because he hasn't had a full season in the league. But in terms of
does he mean depth, just in terms of squad depth? In terms of quality, Cullen was never going to get in that team week in week out.
No.
But in terms of squad depth, I'd have him there because he showed a lot of promise even against I know it's Charlton, but he was spraying balls. He got 2 assists, and he was coming to life as a West Ham player, and then he made a move to Anderlecht. But that's a good move for him because he needed regular game time, and Anderlecht under obviously Company are doing well. So
he captained him the other night.
Move for him.
You see that? Captain.
Exactly. Yeah. And he probably in a few years he'll probably come back to England again. So it's just a stopgap in his career to get more football. But he's only 24, so. But for me, if he was that good, Jack, he'd have got in a team when he was 21, 22, like Declan Rice.
I think that's the thing, innit? He's 24, and we were sort of umming and ahhing whether he was any good. And I think that I'm not doubting his quality. I think he just needs, for me, as like him, just as a player, just needs a consistent. He needs to go to a side where he's going to play consistently, not like he was in. I know he went to Charlton and he went to Bradford and he had whole seasons, but actually start his career there and not have to be like, I'm going back to West Ham and then I'm going out to somebody else. Grady's different because I think the quality is there. And I definitely feel like he's a player that's going to flip between higher up in that Championship and lower in the Premier League. But I think he's still, I think early doors though, mate, he was quality for West Brom. And it's like, I think it doesn't suit him being in his Allardyce side. He needs to go to a side where he's going to be able to show his skill.
Yeah, I feel bad for him because it was, obviously, it made sense at the time because we couldn't guarantee him game time, but obviously it's a downward step. He's not playing. Is he injured, mate, or is he not? Is he not included?
I think he's playing. I just think he's not. I think he's been injured recently, but not long term. He has played under Allardyce.
But when I watched that West Brom side play Spurs, there was no invention until Pereira. They didn't even start Pereira, mate, and I'm like, he scored like 4 goals here this month. He's one of your best attacking outlets, and you've got him on the bench against Spurs. This is what I'm talking about with Moyes. You need to give them something to think about. If you're playing the likes of predictable players like Matt Phillips, Conor Gallagher, who are energetic but they're not got that flair that Pereira, Dean Garner have, you're playing into Spurs' hands, and that's what they did in the end. And Spurs obviously dismantled them with 2 very good goals. So but I don't get why West Brom aren't playing Dean Garner because he just offers something different. I know he started off well. And then he struggled for a bit, didn't he? But, every player struggling. They're not a great team, are they? So you can't really judge him off of one season in a poor team where no players played well.
I think people were a bit harsh with Grady because I think they obviously went to West Brom and he didn't perform. I mean, he did well for the first 2-3 games and he got that great goal against Everton where he ran from one end of the pitch to the other and finished. And I thought, here we go. But people still talk about they're in a struggling side. He was even sacrificed under Bilic at times. He didn't play regularly, so I think he just made the wrong move. I mean, it wasn't even his fault, to be fair. West Ham wanted to cash in on him, or the owners wanted to cash in on him anyway. And he's ended up at a side where, he had a good run last season, but you can't to the Premier League. You can't play the same football. I just feel like Grady. I'm not even. I think he might stay there just because I don't think anyone's going to come in for him necessarily in the summer if they get relegated. But maybe another season in the Championship, mate. But for me, he's too good. He's up there, isn't he? Yeah. He's kind of at that level.
I guess that's the question. Is he Premier League level?
Well, he's unproven. That's what I would say. I think he's until you've seen him in a regular run of games. How can you know whether someone's good enough or not? Like Ryan Brewster, for example, who's gone to Sheffield United this season. Doesn't look the player that he was at Swansea. So there is that phase of play and that kind of that time period where you've got to go from that side to one of the Premier League sides and adapt. But I'm just gutted with Grady because I feel like we could have got a tune out of him. And like we spoke about earlier, talking about the left-hand side, bit of pace, ability to run with the ball, to get to the byline. I think we could have needed that at times this season. Obviously, listen, I wouldn't swap side Ben Rama because I think he's a real talent. But yeah, I feel like we should have just kept him for that squad depth and just a bit of another option, mate.
Yeah, you're right, mate. Yeah, no, I agree.
Cheers, man. Just do the little noddy gif. Yeah, I mean, we've gone on for ages. Grady was tearing it up the Premier League a couple of seasons ago. I don't know if he was he? He did it. I did it in the cup. I can't remember him doing it in the league. Maybe I'm mistaken.
Didn't really get that much game time. I didn't get that much game time.
No, it's a shame. Before we go, let's touch on Man City because we were going to do that. I should have just. I've ruined the label now. I've ruined the label. I should have called it England. Who goes on the plane? And then just clipped it up. But never mind.
We got one more game, haven't we, mate?
Yeah, no, I'm just reading some of the comments about West Ham. Those jerseys they wore against Villa, mate. I'm telling you now, there's not a better West Ham side in that black and gold jersey that I've seen in my lifetime.
Prime Barcelona, where we wear them.
I'm telling you now, when we step out and Cyber Rama's wearing that black and gold kit, mate, you know something's gonna, you know it's gonna go down. Man City Spurs. We touched on it a bit. Spurs obviously beat West Brom, get into a little bit. I wouldn't say form, but certainly, stopped the rot. Last night they lost 5-4 to Everton. I didn't watch the game in full, but obviously they are willing to go forward now and press and concede chances defensively, which is so interesting for Mourinho's side. This is a telling point in Mourinho's managerial career where he's gonna have to change the way that he manages his teams and the way that they play because Spurs fans I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it and I'm living for it, but are tearing their hair out because they're not progressing enough with the ball. They don't look good enough. There's no other way of playing. Do you think Mourinho can change his spots, or do you just think this is just a nightmare in waiting for them lot?
He's going to have to, mate, because I know a lot of fans are critical about the way he sets up. He's too defensive and that. And, with Spurs' quality, you find it a bit baffling, don't you? Because they got Kane, Son, Lamella, Bergwijn, Moura, a lot of good players. So I don't get it. Last night, I saw the highlights. I didn't watch the game, if I'm honest. I chose Leicester instead, which was a schoolboy decision. They, like you said, they were willing to sacrifice. I didn't buy that kit, actually. No, I should have done, but...
I brought mine, mate. I brought my home one. Look, up there. Lovely stuff, Eminem.
I was going to get the away one. I'm not a fan of the collar on the third kit. I don't like it.
No, that's why I swerved it. Otherwise, I would have been...
Yeah. If it had a normal collar, it'd look unreal.
If it had that collar, do you think it looked the same if it had that circle collar on it? And I don't know if it would. You're quite sick though, to be fair. Imagine if it was like an old school gold and black kit. But anyway, off topic.
No. To be fair, with that collar, black and gold, it'd
be tasty.
That collar ruins it though. And the away one, I'm not too keen. On the home one, I've had before, so I just thought, you know what, I prefer the retro ones anyway, to be honest. So
let me know in the comment section what kits you prefer, the new ones or the old ones. Because actually, to be fair, I was a bit on the fence about our kits this season when they first come out, and actually now I'm looking at it. I don't know whether it's because we played well in them, but I just think
probably
they're all right. They're all right. Even the one the old the blue one with the claret hoops that we tend to lose in quite a fair bit. Particularly at the minute. I'm all right with that. I'm all right with it. It's nice.
I think we're looking to swerve Umbro anyway. We're looking to go with Adidas, aren't we?
I hope so. Do you reckon?
Then it'd be good, yeah.
Now, didn't we re-sign a deal with Umbro?
We did. I just remembered we signed like a 2-year deal, didn't we?
Oh, mate, honestly, I remember when we got those Adidas kits in and each of them were brilliant. Like, they were just nice. They were just good kits. Old school retro throwback kits. I
like the whole one, yeah. I did.
You know the 83 one, the 83 kit.
Yeah.
Obviously, neither me or you were there for. But if they made a remake of that would be tasty. I'd be all over it. I'm definitely massive fan of retro kits, mate. Particularly West Ham ones.
I don't know what my favourite recent kit is in West Ham memory. I can't.
I love the bowling one, but it's very, very similar to the one that we've got up there.
I wasn't a massive fan of that.
Really?
I wasn't a huge fan of it.
No. I'll tell you what one I like. Do you remember the one before? Do you remember the one before we went to Umbro the year before, and it was like it was basically all claret, and it had really thin stripes on the shirt, and it's like a sort of V-neck collar thing. That was quite nice.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, an SBO bet. I like them kits as well. I don't know why, but
I can just see Kouate wearing it, and I just think that's the kit. That's the one.
Yeah.
Stuart Downing.
I'm fussy with kits. Stuart Downing, in his cam roll, ripping it up.
Oh,
Every
mate,
week.
in the diamond, mate, we were absolutely lethal.
Prime Downing there. Oh, it was unreal, wasn't he? And Sacco up top, Valencia. Oh. But no, I'm fussy with kids. I prefer the retro ones, to be honest, mate, just in terms of the fit of the style. But no, but Mourinho.
Can you imagine if someone watching this back on the replay and think, I thought I was watching some Premier League previous. Yeah. Oh, it was, mate. It was lovely.
It was nice, yeah. To be fair, I might try and cop that again. But Mourinho, for the second time. He's going to have to sacrifice it, mate. He's going to have to change it up, because I know Spurs fans will be getting frustrated. They kind of took one step forward, two steps back, didn't they? You know, last night, defensively, they were awful for all 5 goals, I thought. Especially the 5th one, playing such a high line, and Doherty not coming back in, playing Bernard on side and then Bernard scoring. I think that's that lackadaisical approach almost. They've got a lot of talent, don't get me wrong, but I think without Kane, they need to find a way of winning games, because their record without Kane is concerning. And to be fair, for a team of that calibre and with the expectations they have, relying on Kane and Son, is something that needs to be sorted out. But Højbjerg's been a good signing, and Dombele's class as well.
He's a player. He's a player, mate.
He's a problem, isn't he? I just think that they need like a new back line almost. The right back, Aurier's a liability. McGee's good, but injury prone. And then the 2 sets back, Sanchez is poor. Every guy's poor. So I think for me they need a few new defenders, and they're all right. But it's interesting to see, mate.
We're playing 3-0, we'll get him at home. I think we've got a good chance against Spurs. I know they've got paid back a little bit, but we are an older and a wiser team. I think coaching terms, tactics terms, I think we've improved since we played Tottenham last time, and I thought we got it completely wrong in the first half, and I had the right ump about it, and I thought, this is why Moyes is going to struggle as West Ham manager, but actually, obviously, we come out second half, and they sat off us, and actually, I think it'd be interesting to see whether Mourinho does sit off West Ham. A little bit negative this season, we know that for a fact, and he changed it a little bit in recent weeks. So when he's got Reguilon on that left-hand side, he goes with a 3-4-3, and it gives him a little bit more fluidity, I guess. And then Dombele as like a number 8, they can get on the ball a bit more. I think they look better going forward with that system. I'm not sure they'll play it against West Ham, but I think Tottenham are going to struggle this season, to be honest. I've never seen Mourinho turn a side round from the point that it's at now. And I think people, that have had Mourinho as their manager, you hear United fans talking about it, you get a period of time where you improve as a club, and then there's the fall off, and he never recovers. And I think this is what we've seen with Pep, and we've seen with Klopp. Not really Klopp, this is an interesting time period, but certainly Pep. He struggled earlier in the season. He couldn't play the way that he used to play. He just adapted it and changed it. But he's a class manager. And I think Mourinho, as good as a manager as he is, he only has really one way to play. And if he can't play a different way, then all of a sudden he can't, and the players don't buy into it. And I think there's a lot to do with player power these days. I think, these Spurs players, particularly if Harry Kane turns around and says, no, I don't believe in you, mate, or I don't believe in what you're trying to do, that Spurs team, they're not going to buy into it. You have to be all in Mourinho for it to work. And at too many clubs now, it's falling apart towards the end.
Do you think Mourinho's been found out? Do you think he's kind of managers now to play against him, and that, his glory days of when he was at Porto, Chelsea, Real Madrid? Do you think now he's kind of old-fashioned? Do you think teams are sussing him out? And dynamic managers like Guardiola can change it at half-time, whereas Mourinho's a bit stubborn, get the better of him, game over?
I think possibly. I think we obviously get a bit of a reprieve at times, because you just, like you saw earlier in the season with Tottenham, they bought into it. Højbjerg was a really clever signing from Mourinho. Reguilon's been a fantastic signing. I know he's brought Bale in, it hasn't quite worked for whatever reason, and I'm sure that it will come out in the wash in the summer. But I think when you buy into what Mourinho wants to do, it does work. But I think it's more so that his game management or his management of the team hasn't changed to adapt with the current, the modern profile of player. You've got to remember, when he was at Chelsea, he was at Porto, and he obviously had a team of players that were willing to work for him and wanted to win that Champions League, and they believed in him, and it worked. Chelsea, he comes into a side of John Terry, see you later, Chris. Have a good one, mate. No, he comes in at Chelsea, and he's got Terry, Lampard. They've all bought into Drogba, real characters, a real spine of the team. And now I think, with respect, you go into the Spurs side, or he's been at Madrid. The players decide, you know what, I don't want to play for you anymore. We saw it break down at Chelsea. We saw it break down at Manchester United. That one was a little bit different because I think he didn't get that centre back that he wanted, and it's always an if.
Exactly.
But I think exactly. The difference is that I never see Mourinho have to adapt his team to get a result. And I look at other managers, and I'm not saying Pep's a horrible example because he gets the money to go out and get who he wants. But when it doesn't work, he changes it. Klopp's had to change his team progressively, and it's not worked from the beginning. It always feels like it's fantastic at the beginning and breaks down at the end. And listen, I'm not saying he's not one of the best managers of all time because records show that he is, but I think that longevity, it's getting to him a bit, mate. I think he knows he can't keep the longevity of the side that he manages.
Yeah, definitely. It is a problem. I think Spurs as well, they have a massive reliance, they have massive pressure in the summer to spend big, because if you're the likes of Kane and Son, you think, how long am I going to stick about here if there's not really any substantial backing, world-class players to get us to the top four, to push for trophies? There's a few problems there. And then you've got to cope again with that transition we mentioned about City, where they lost Silva. Spurs could lose Kane and Son.
Yeah.
And then where do you go from there? Then the rest of the forward line is average. So it's a real, this summer for me, for Tottenham, is massive. They need to get good players. They need to get it right. Otherwise, Mourinho and Spurs next year are finished for me. They're not, they're not in trouble.
Kane will go. Kane will go, by the way. I think it sounds a bit far-fetched, but if you look at it, he's been one of the best strikers in the league for a long, long time, hasn't he? And he should be winning trophies, and he's at a side that have failed to do it. I know Poch got very, very close and they had a very good side, but if they don't win a Carabao Cup, which is the minimum now for Mourinho's got to go and win that cup against Pep, because otherwise I think the wheels come off a little bit. And it was never a long-term project with Mourinho, was it? And I think Kane will look at it, given his age, and say, do you know what? I've got a chance to move on. We've spoken about City wanting a striker. If Man City go and bag Harry Kane, we're all in for it, because all of a sudden that geezer, if he stays fit, is going to get 20, 30 goals a season. Yeah,
exactly. The thing is for me though, mate, that I found this out with Hazard as well. When you're in your prime, I wonder if players are attracted that more to the proposition of going to Spain, to going to Real Madrid, to going to Barca, because as world-class as teams as they are and saying, I play for Barcelona, the likes of Messi, Neymar, Suarez, they're not there anymore. They're in transition as well. And although you win trophies, the league standard is poor for me. Yeah. I think Spain's is okay. France is poor. Like Mbappe and Neymar, they're in a poor league. So you do wonder if you came, do you stick around in the Premier League because it's the best league in the world and it's so unpredictable? Or do you sacrifice that and go to a league where you're going to win trophies, but the standard of football is very poor? Do you think that plays around in their head a bit?
Yeah, no.
Do you know what I mean?
Maybe. I think the thing, if Kane goes, where does he go? Do you know? Because I think Kane is that a bigger talent that, like you say, we touched on it. Spurs haven't won anything. He could want to go to Madrid or a Barca, and I know it's a tough ask, and I think that is changing. By the way, you touched on it. Those kind of pool of clubs. You look at PSG, all the money in the world, but ultimately, reality is the league's not great, and they win the same trophies each and every year. Barca are a little bit in turmoil at the moment. Madrid aren't doing brilliantly either.
Turmoil, yeah.
The Premier League is where it's at. As far at the minute, it's where it's at. Other than maybe Bayern Munich, it's the only other one out there that I think if they wanted to go and bring it, but they wouldn't because they've got Lewandowski. So I think ultimately, I think the players for Spurs will start to leave in the summer, and I think they'll go to a Premier club. Juve's a shout. Maybe Inter, they've got a bit of money as well.
Yeah, Juve for me, if I was Kane or Son, would be the only attractive option for me at the moment, because like you said, Real Madrid are in an awkward stage, Barca are in turmoil.
So I didn't want to throw you off, but I just thought I'd bring it up.
No, really distracted. Chris is on 4% as well. Chris, get that charger out. But
throw it out, mate.
But no, I just think like Hazard as well, when he was in his prime, he could have gone to what? He could have been a Judas, but he could have gone to Man City and really gone for, established as one of the Premier League greats, as he already was. But for me, going to Real Madrid almost killed him. He's not, you never hear of him anymore, do you? So I just wonder if that was to happen to Kane and Son, if they picked up a few injuries, if they'd ever be the same as they were in the Premier League because of the players around them aren't as good. I'm not sure, man. For me, it's a difficult one, but
I think Kane would bag 20-25 goals in La Liga. I think the only reason I say this is because one, A, he's never been a quick player. B, I think he's transitioned to almost play like a 10. He's so intelligent. He's so intelligent that we've even seen him lose pace and he's still at that level because he's adapted his game. And it comes from his dedication, I guess. And I don't want to be, Team Harry Kane because obviously we play him in a few weeks and I can't stand Tottenham. But as a player and as an England player, I think he's got to go and get trophies. He's too good a player to finish his career with a Carabao Cup. That's not good enough. He's two-way. Son's exactly the same. People talk about Son on a world-class level.
Son's class, yeah.
And if you want to, he's got to go to a PSG or he's got to go to a Bayern Munich and progress. And Bayern's the only one I look at where I think there's credibility because I think the German league stands up and I think Bayern are such a good team that if you went there, for example, then when you won trophies, then it's cheered effectively. Look at Sane. He's gone to Bayern. No one sees it as a downward step. It's effectively a bit of a sideways one.
Yeah, but do you hear of Sane as much now?
Yeah, but he's in a team though, isn't it, mate? He's got he's got Coman and he's got Gnabry and No, I know the point. The point, is he going to get that same type of
coverage? Yeah. But at the end of the day, the end goal is about trophies, isn't it, mate? And that's what they're going to get.
Champions League as well, mate. Champions League.
Exactly,
Son and Kane have got to be in that Champions League.
I wouldn't be surprised if one of them two goes to Man City eventually.
I think Kane will.
I think one of them will. You've got to. Yeah, if you want to get to the very top.
I think they're talking about Liverpool saying about, I don't think they'll move Salah on, but there are kind of rumours that Mane and Salah look at a PSG or a Madrid as a possible option. Maybe, Liverpool go for Son because he'd slot right in. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah, possibly. It'd be the ideal replacement for what Mane, because I know Salah's not signed an extension. I see there's rumours that he's unsettled and he's not getting.
Yeah, well, this is the thing, isn't it? Because they were in for Salah, weren't they, in the summer on the right hand side, which is where Salah plays. So I think there's a bit going. He's won the Premier League, he's won the Champions League. Inevitably, one of them, Mane or Salah, will look to move on at some point.
No, I think Liverpool will be planning for that as well because Mane's 28 now. Salah's obviously the similar age, so they'll be looking for long-term replacements like Sarr because he's got a lot of potential, like even a Son, to be fair, as well. So it'll be interesting to see. But on prediction, mate, what are you going? What are you thinking?
I'm gonna go 2-0 Man City. I think they control this game. I think it's very, very easy for them. I think just defensively they've improved. I think in earlier seasons, given their defence, I would have said, actually, do you know what, they may concede, but I just feel that they're going to control it like they did against Liverpool. But I definitely think older Mourinho is going to go for a draw, definitely. Because you're going to need a point. Point against Pep is it's the mind games as well with Mourinho. If he gets a point against Pep leading up to that Carabao Cup final, then maybe he feels like he's got a bit of an edge on him.
Possibly. It's all mind games, isn't it? I think it goes one or two ways. I think it's either a 1-0, Mourinho parts the ball, City breakthrough, or City score one, floodgates open, 3 or 4-0. I can't. I'd
love to see it.
Yeah,
I'm all for it.
Spurs will look to hit him on the counter. Say, I keep saying Sane and Con. Really annoying me. Kane and Son. Look to counter with them two. Obviously, Kane dropping deep, Son over the top, the rest. But I think even City's defensively, Guardiola's tactical nous will probably get the better of Mourinho.
They're not progressing the fullbacks in the same way, and it's giving a bit of freedom. It's giving a bit of protection to the centre backs, and Rodri's sitting a little bit deeper as well. So it's the only reason why, if Spurs are going to get a goal in this game, they've got to get the likes of Bergwijn, Son in and around Kane and in beyond, because otherwise it won't work. It'll be as good as Son is. I just think Man City, particularly with Diaz and Stones, it'll be too much for them.
Yeah, exactly.
Should we answer this question, mate? I've left it up there before we wrap things up. Moyes said that he wants to over-deliver. What is over-deliver for West Ham this season? A couple of people in the chat talking about top 6. Let's be honest here, right? And I think this has completely changed from we thought we were getting relegated at the start of the season.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
So over-deliver might be 14th, but now I think What's over delivering for West Ham?
European football, I think.
I think if West Ham got, if they got into Europe, that is an
I'd be
unbelievable,
buzzing. Yeah,
mate. That is unreal. Because this is why when you talk about Moyes, and it's obviously too early to talk about your managers of the season. If we manage to get that, that's up there with the lack of squad depth that we've had, the injuries as well, having one recognised striker effectively for half the season. If we were able to pull that off, that's different level, mate. And but yeah, no, look, I'm just enjoying it, mate. I'm just enjoying it. We're up there. We're competing now. We're not worrying about over our shoulder all the time. It's nice.
Just got to enjoy the moment, mate. Because normally West Ham, it's disappointment most weeks, isn't it? Fortune's always hiding. So I think over delivering European football, I think that'll be unbelievable, especially with the squad depth and looking to build, because we thought we were getting relegated. So I know what that comment says about that striker we need. Yes, that's my only fear, mate, that the season could derail because of the injuries we now have, because of Bonner being injured, because of no backup striker. What if Antonio gets injured? Who are you left with then? It's always what if, and normally with West Ham it comes to fruition, doesn't it? So you've got to be wary. But I would snap your hand off now for a European place, because I think that's the highest we'll finish. Not being pessimistic, but just optimistic in terms of the injuries we got, mate. So
it's too much. I think maybe now we've gone out of the cups, we've got a bit of respite at times. Obviously, leading into March could be useful. I think it's not even, because we've had this problem the whole season. Realistically, I know Allaire came in, but we didn't have any backup for Allaire when he was in the side. And we've always been sitting there saying, going up front, we don't have that right option when we need it. So I think we've always had that. It's the fatigue. If we start to break down a little bit throughout this season like we did against Fulham, and we drop points, because it was a drop point, let's be honest, against Fulham. We should have been, I know they played very, very well, but on paper West Ham should have gone and won that game, gone and beat Sheffield United 6 points, and then we can sit here and say, well, actually, do you know what, we're in 5th place, let's just consolidate it. There's always naturally going to be a little bit of a dip. I think we are going to see that massively. Yeah, exactly, Chris. We are going to see that in the next couple of games. We're playing Spurs and Man City. I think we can get a result against Spurs. It will be tough. Man City's a tough one. I think then we've got Man United somewhere in the future. Wolves defensively looking quite good. We're going to dip. We naturally are. But, if we can keep these players fit and we can get top 8, mate, that's an overachievement in itself, to be honest. Compared to
I think we'll beat Wolves. I think we'll beat Wolves and Spurs. I think Wolves are 14th. Wolves are struggling, mate.
They're terrible going forward, yeah.
I've never seen a team struggle so much without one player. Jimenez changes that team. It's ridiculous.
Well, they built a team on Jimenez, and now they're trying to. The only thing I'd say is go on.
Even the players around him like Traore don't look like the same player.
No. The only one that's performing in that side is Neto, and he looked unbelievable when he came on tonight. But the problem they've got is, I think they brought on. They played a back 3 tonight, possibly, and they look better defensively when they have. I think it was Jan Hoover was on the right hand side. He looked a good player. So there are things about them, and they got that 0-0 against Leicester. So maybe they're looking to sort of shut things out and get those points. That's why I think it could be difficult for West Ham, but we should be going in there with confidence. Yeah, you're right. They're 14th. But they're not the same team, mate. Because they built a team around Jimenez. No. Take him out, and now they've got to try and adapt. And Fabio Silva's not a striker. He's a 10 for me. And he's trying to do his best, but he's so young. He's 18, trying to lead a line. It's tough, man.
I think Wolves will get dragged in it, mate, to be honest. But if you look, mate, the teams around us, you've got Spurs, who they've got a better team on paper, but I think we can finish higher than them. Obviously, you got Leicester. Who else you got around us? You got Everton. For me, we can beat them on our day. It's up for grabs, mate. If you like, it's all very interesting. I think it'll be very tight towards the end of it, but there's no reason why we can't finish 6th or even 5th. Might be a push too far, but I've seen a comment there about Diop looked good against Man United, and he did. But like I've said to you, mate, there's always that. I'm always concerned about Diop in terms of he likes to jump out. He likes to jump above the defensive line, make rash challenges, and then expose him behind. But hopefully, Moyes can eradicate them errors and just tell him to do the simple things. But that is the concern for me, that Diop can be a bit over eager in a sense. You know what I mean? Overzealous. Yeah. So.
No,
It'll be interesting to see.
I'll answer Neil's question because I've got to put it in context. So why were we going to dip? I don't think we're going to dip as a side, but I think you have to naturally look at the games coming up in terms of the fixtures and say that because we've gone and beaten Burnley, West Brom, Palace, games that we should be winning, that there's a high, and then there's going to be tough games like we've seen against Liverpool. Yeah. Great result against Villa. It's just about anticipating that. But just the way that the fixtures have gone this season and the teams that we're playing, we will come back up again. We will play teams that we can get 3 points from. And then and that's towards the end, so you can start building a bit of momentum. But I think we have to compete more in some of those bigger games, not let that handbrake off, but just be a bit more effective if we're going to get draws or 3 points or nick a shock win, because it would be nice to see. I mean, we haven't done it really this season. We've been good against teams that we should beat, which is the irony, because normally we beat the teams that we shouldn't beat, and then we lose to the ones that we should. So it's It's a weird one, but ratio-wise, we're more consistent. We'll be top half. We'll be top half for me, even with injuries. I think we are good enough. We will get there, but
yeah, definitely. But look against like Leicester, mate. When we took the game to them and beat them 3-0. If we go at teams and give them something to think about, we can cause problems and we can get some results. But obviously, against the likes of City, Man United, you're probably not going to get anything out of. But it's not the worst thing in the world. That's why we'll dip, but. The winnable games, like you say, against Palace, West Brom, Burnley, Wolves, Sheffield United, they're the games that you need to pick up maximum points if you want to get Europa League. And it's only ourselves to blame if we don't.
Oh, listen, like I said, like with the fixtures and going out a cup, I know it's not ideal. I would have loved to have gone to we know we can't go to a cup final, but if West Ham could even compete for an FA Cup, that'd be unbelievable, mate. If we could, I'd rather have that over, Europa League, to be honest. I just would. But nah, I think now we're out of there and we're going to get the break and we are going to get time now to recoup a little bit. I think we will start to pick up again in form and perform. I think we played well against United. I know we weren't great going forward, but I think we did as well as we could with the personnel. When you're playing Pablo Fornals on the left and Yarma up top and Nibes, there's never going to be that mobility as you get with Lingard or Antonio. But I think we're there. I think there has been consistency this season. It's just, can we maintain that with the squad depth that we've got? And that's always the question. And fingers crossed we can, mate. Prove me wrong, West Ham. I'd love to see
it. Exactly. We'll see on Monday against Sheffield United. It'll be a tough game, but
come on, ones. We can win. Of course we can.
Yeah.
I'd love to see us win again, mate. I honestly, when we drew against Fulham, it felt like a loss, and I felt so deflated because it don't normally happen. Yeah. We started going into games thinking, "Say what, we can win that game, and then it doesn't happen, and you go, we've dropped off." But I was speaking to someone earlier. I said, "Look, I'm not going to be negative here. We are going to bounce back against Sheffield United. I feel performance-wise, and if we do, we should beat him on paper."
I think so. I don't think Sheffield United have a lot of flair going forward. They rely on obviously McGoldrick, McBurney, or Burke's probably the main player who's got a bit of pace, but he lacks end product. So in terms of they probably play into our hands defensively, and then going forward, obviously, defensively they're not the best. So. I think on paper we should do the job, but in the Premier League you never know. I thought in the past that we'll beat teams and then we end up losing. You remember under Bilic last season at Bowling, we were doing so well in the race, in the hunt for the top four. We lost 4-1 to Swansea, didn't we? We were terrible. So these things can happen, but. I'm confident, mate. Yeah.
Better not happen on Monday, that's for sure. Because then it will be a real negative post-match. But we'll wrap it up there, mate. I know it was on a bit later than we'd initially planned, but thanks for coming on as ever. We'll get you back on again next week. It's going to be buzzing. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Drop a like before you leave. It all helps. I really, really appreciate it. We'll be back 8:30 to discuss everything. Talk West Ham for about half an hour. Probably talk England teams for another half an hour. But no, I'll just ramble on about old retro kits. But I do enjoy it, mate. It's good to have you on. Until we're going to have a predicted 11 and a tactical breakdown out very shortly. It will definitely be this weekend. I don't have time, unfortunately, to do a live build-up show. If I can sneak one in, I will for Monday. You will get all your pre-match content as ever, and then we'll return for the watch-along. I think we're at 6 o'clock, aren't we, Monday? So 5:30 on the West Ham Way.
6 o'clock, yeah.
So it'll be 5:30 on the West Ham Way YouTube channel. Comments coming in. I'll quickly read them before I go. Cheers, lads. Good night. Yeah, cheers, Willie Jumper. Cheers, Jack, as well. Cheers, Chris, mate. Thanks for seeing you. You're planning on doing some previews? Of course. I ain't just going to go in the summer. What am I going to do with all my time? Dan's going to have to come on and we're going to have to sort it out.
You know what? I'll come on. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, we'll do loads. We'll do loads of Euro stuff. Don't you worry. Predicted 11s, tactical breakdowns on Algeria. It's going to be unreal. So we'll drop it there. Thanks everyone for watching. And we'll see you next week. Take care.